fresh to death. I'm Paul Berry, not at all scary. When I open like Fetty Wops, then find to these circles that's going in like a carry shot. Woo! I'm going in like a Mary Pop off that Mary Crop at the top flow at the Marriott. So questioning me is like questioning you. See, we the best dressed, so come and get blessed with the crew. Not one but two, different ways to slaughter your crew. Committed tat across the chest, I guess she blessed with the truth. People want to see them checks, representation of proof. Living through my elders, trying to resonate to the youth. But ain't nothing to get my flash on. Longevity is heavily embedded in my melanin. Layman terms, I last long. My grind repetitive, I'm smoother than real silk. Lyrical cash cow who can't cry over spilled milk. We in here. You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, willing dealing, limo jet flying. We Rick flaring on us, flaring on us. We Rick flaring on us, flaring on us. To the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, willing dealing, limo jet flying. We Rick flaring on us, flaring on us. We Rick flaring on us, flaring on us. This ain't no normal situation, this preparation with greatness. Industry full of fakeness, it's really up for the taking. See, life is what happened to you, more so how you take it. Don't get stripped of your knowledge and mentally leave you naked. I like to live otherwise. I'm sorry that I'm fresh to death. I put the polo and apologize. See, Black Sun, we ain't nothing like the mother guys. Quit to socialize, we organize, then we mobilize. Off the deep end like a scuba diver. And no confusion, just keep it pushing like Uber drivers. Woo! Business fresh just like a supervisor in a Gucci visor. Can't find a smoother rhymer. You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, willing dealing, limo jet flying. We Rick flaring on us, flaring on us. We Rick flaring on us. You talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, willing dealing, limo jet flying. We Rick flaring on us, flaring on us. We Rick flaring on us, flaring on us.
Yeah, DQ baby. Shout out that boy Nigga for that fire track. Hey, Black Sun, sun up. What's up, Vinny Vegas? What in Vegas? Yeah. Shout out Pharaoh's Kids, D-Phase, yeah, Bubba C, yeah, Rick flaring on him, Rick flaring on him, Rick flaring on him, Rick flaring, son up, baby.
Hey, yo, Scotty, you going crazy for this one. We see what you're doing, we salute you. Hey, let's get it started. It's Backpack Capital One. What's in your wallet? Got a call from my man, A. Scott. I said I got it. Love that you highlighting all of these black colleges. Try to pay me for doing this. Look, bruh, if you don't get off my line with that foolishness, voice of the Swac, pull up where you at, no cap. If the Brody is speaking the soft facts, my advice, tune in to every show. Captain Petty, but we know that the sergeants are with the smoke. Speculate, just tell me what is we doing. Get into it, okay, look, I'ma say this and keep it moving. My boy Scotty, man, he offered the least. Black grad, paying college, I'm glad that he called me. Walking, cause we all been taught that talk is cheap. Even primetime knows Scott for the HBCU streets. What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Scotty, man, back with another one. Listen, you are tuned into the 3KneeGrows. I like that name. This is the debut show of the 3KneeGrows. Now, listen, this is something I kind of threw together. Reached out to Zoe, reached out to Perry. Some of the most, I would say, polarizing viewpoints in HBCU, left, right, in the middle, indifferent. And these are good friends of mine that I felt have always spoke their mind and gave you truth to power. So once again, shout out to Perry, shout out to Zoe, guys. Introduce yourselves. Dog.
What up, man? Look, it's your boy Zoe Phillips, man. And look, Jack State historian, but no sports today. Well, a little bit of sports, but got a lot we're gonna get into, man. Jacktown Drew in the building. What up, Perry?
I'm back. Back on the scene. Zoe. Zoe, you left You left the dark side. Welcome to the light. You'll come on to the light. And I've been watching you. You found your way to the light. Glad to have you. You're shining, baby. You're shining.
That's the ring,
You're
Cam.
shining brighter than ever. And guess
That's the
what?
ring light.
And when you come on, I'm gonna let you get your point across too. I ain't gonna cut you off. I ain't gonna say nothing crazy. I'm gonna let you get your thoughts out. So welcome over to the light zone.
That's the ring light.
Oh my
God,
god.
it was so damn funny.
Dog, you are so stupid, man. Something is wrong with you.
He glowing, ain't he? Like I can tell he got an aura.
That's the ring light, dog.
Man, you know,
No, it ain't that ring light. It's just you didn't crossed over, and I'm glad to have you.
oh man, oh man, oh man. Straight. Oh, so oh, that was, I needed that. All right, listen, man. Listen. I called this show the 3KneeGrows because play on words. And the funny thing is when I came up with the name, I just knew you was gonna be like, Perry. I just knew I was coming up with the name, and I told Key, I was like, Perry gonna be like, that's it, because you just like controversial stuff like that. And then you hit me back with, what about general conversation? I said, what kind of name is that?
I am controversial, but I'm not as controversial as you. Like I like a little flipping, I like a little turning things over, but Scotty, you on another level. You on another level. I'm not quite to that level of Captain Petty Sergeant Smoke like you. Like I'm somewhere there, but then I get real back in. So
Oh my goodness, man. So as you know, and as you can see with the title, it is a play on words. Now, listen, let's play some bills real quick. Make sure you are at the Tubman Museum Golf Tournament. All right, Cinco de Mayo, May 5th, 2025, at the beautiful Crystal Lake Golf and Country Club in Hampton, Georgia. Foursomes, that's what you're into. $500, individual $150. Listen, this is a great opportunity to come out support the Alabama State Men's and Women's Golf Tournament as well as the Tubman African American Museum. Man, go get your tickets and register today. All right, get your clubs. If you ain't got no clubs, rent them. If you can't rent them, borrow a set from a friend and take y'all butts over to the Crystal Lake Golf and Country Club at the Tubman American Museum sponsor golf tournament, man. Doing major things. Now, let's get into today's show, fellas.
do you guys play golf?
I do.
Yes, sir.
I surely do. Now, my handicap's a 17, 15.
And I was a top, I was a top golf Friday too, working on that drive.
Yeah.
I don't know what handicap mean. I don't know what a driver.
Oh Lord.
I am the driver of the golf cart. Hey, you need another beer, Zoe? Yeah, who need another drink? That's me. Yeah, that's all I got for you. I get out there, I chip shot some. Chip shot. Do they use that in golf?
Yes, they do.
Yes.
Chip shots.
I'm a chip shotter. What does that mean?
You close to the green, like you'll chip it in or something like that. If like you're in the rough, you know what I'm saying, on the fringe.
What? Give me one thing less than a chip shot. What's the next thing behind the chip shot?
Putting.
Yeah, I'm about putt. That's what you got out of me. I'm a putter.
I'm a putter.
I'm a putter. You've been the little golf thing when you at the
mini golf.
Mini
golf.
Boy, I'm trash at Top Golf. Don't put me on a real course. Once again, anybody need another beer? Anybody need another drink? Where we going? What's the next hole?
We know you drinking. We know at the end of the day, we know what you're doing now. Listen, Swac tournament is in play. All right, everybody has been seated, and the new format is 10 out of the 12 teams are able to get to the tournament. Now, listen, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I don't watch too much men's basketball, especially Swac. I'm just keeping it a buck with you. So this will be led by our premier confidant in informant, Mr. Perry White. Mr. Perry White, talk to us about this men's bracket and what's going on in Swac.
Listen, going through Swac basketball this year, I've been able to keep up with it, of course, following Southern. And Southern, of course, on the men's side, ended the regular season as the regular season champs.
I don't have the applause button. Sorry.
You ain't got nothing. You ain't got next.
I ain't got nothing.
Jesus Christ.
There you
Yeah,
go.
tough crowd tonight.
Sometimes you gotta pop out and show niggas. Certified boogeyman.
If
I'm
this
up on
was
that.
Jackson State, you would have had it rocking and rolling up in here. You would have had it all.
Do you really think I would have had if Jackson State won the now if it was Tamika Reed, now we're talking about something different. But if we talk about men's basketball, you think I would really be celebrating Jackson State winners of men's tournament? Come on, man.
Yeah, Mo Williams, baby. He came over to Jackson and listen. Jackson, didn't they get the number 2 seed? I believe they did.
They did.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, Southern finished the regular season. And it was so ironic that when you look at Southern, they had 2 out-of-conference wins against Louisiana Tech and Tulsa that count for them. A tough non-conference schedule, and I'm talking about them since they won the regular season championship, the regular season title. And, of course, I'm Southern through and through. But nonetheless, when you look at them, they had 3 Swac losses. Scotty, when you look at their 3 Swac losses, all 3 Swac losses were by a combined of how many points do you think?
10.
3.
Woo!
They lost to Alabama State in Montgomery by 1 point. They
That's
lost
crazy.
to Alabama State at home by 1 point. And they went on the road and they lost to Bethune-Cookman by 1 point. But I think overall, when you look at the conference this year, this is some of the best SWAC basketball when you look across the men landscape that we've had in some time, because normally when you look at this, it's Southern. Last year was Grambling, and most of the time you see Texas Southern. But this year, Jackson State and Mo Williams did a great job coming up with that number 2 seed. They started out slow, especially non-conference, but got hot, found some wins throughout conference play. Bethune-Cookman and Reggie Theus. That is my dark horse. If I think there's a dark horse to win the conference, I'm going with Bethune-Cookman and Reggie Theus. Reggie Theus, for his 2nd consecutive year, has done a really good job building up that Bethune-Cookman basketball team. And for me, they can beat anybody in this league. Just a year ago, they went 3-0 against Southern, beating that Southern in Baton Rouge, Daytona, and they sent Southern out in an early exit out of the SWAC tournament. This year, just last week, they beat Southern in Daytona by 1 point in overtime. So this is a team that can play some ball. Reggie Theus has done a good job getting that ball club together.
He should. He don't do no ADing. I mean, goddamn, the least if he was doing some ADing and then was winning on the basketball court, I'd be like, oh, damn, that's tough. He don't do no ADing, so you better win on the basketball court. I'm not giving him a benefit for that.
And listen, Alabama State is another team who's come to find themselves late. Texas Southern is another team that can give you a hard time. Alcorn is a team that can
FAMU.
No.
They're not a dark horse.
I'll say this.
Hold on, who did he say Alcorn is what?
No, he said FAMU. I said no.
How's FAMU not a dark horse?
I'm gonna say this, and I mean this. If you really want to see some challenging elite basketball, I would tell everybody to watch the men's SWAC tournament, because 1 through 6 can win this conference. Seriously, 1 through 6 can win this conference.
Okay.
Literally, 1 through 6 can win this conference.
I can't give you Alcorn. They always get knocked out in the first round. Can't give it to you.
You can't give you Alcorn because if you
I'm telling you.
You said you have not been keeping up with SWAC basketball. These teams this year is anybody can beat anybody. Don't get it twisted, even though Southern number 1 and Jackson number 2. This is some of the best SWAC basketball on the men's side that I've seen quite some time, where every team can knock off anybody. You brought up FAMU. FAMU is a team that can knock off somebody.
That's what I'm saying.
Now, the 2 teams who I don't think, who you see in the early bracket who's going to play tomorrow, Alabama A&M and Prairie View. I saw Alabama A&M Saturday in Baton Rouge on the men's side. I just don't think they have enough offensive firepower. Grambling is, let's say this about Grambling, winning the SWAC last year, and not only winning the SWAC, they won a game in the tournament and then went on to take on Purdue. Coming in this year, Grambling has far settled from what we thought the expectation was going to be with that program, which is why you see them playing on Tuesday against Alabama A&M. Would be a good one if Southern and Grambling played for that next round. But I like Florida A&M, what you're saying. They are a team who is tough. It is tough to beat them. Prairie View, I don't see. But when you throw in the factors of Jackson State, when you throw in the factors of Alabama State, Texas Southern, Bethune-Cookman, Alcorn, and Southern, we don't know what we're going to get by the time we get to Saturday. You just hope that teams can carry on by the trajectory that we saw through the season, and the teams that got better ended up getting where they needed to get in the seeding. Jackson State is one of those teams under Mo Williams. Alabama State is the only team this year to sweep Southern, both times by a combined 2 points. And when you look at Bethune-Cookman, they got a victory over Southern. Alcorn is sneaky good. Do not count them out. Do not count out Alcorn, and along with Texas Southern. We all know, because we saw it last year, Texas Southern and any other year. Forget what you saw during the regular season. When they get to the tournament, you never know what Texas Southern team you're going to get. Basketball is what they do, so they always make me nervous, and especially because Southern is on that side of the bracket with Texas Southern, along with Alabama State, who swept them through the regular season. This is going to be a basketball tournament to watch this year. And for this year, we know before this tournament was held in Birmingham, this year they're going to Atlanta. They're going to be playing in the arena that the Atlanta WNBA team plays in.
And I'll tell you what, historically, outside of Texas Southern, when they're coming in at the number 1 seed, the Swac tournament never runs chalk. Never does.
What does that even mean? I don't speak.
When you run chalk, that means all the seedings and they go out with the number 1 seed win the tournament.
Oh,
that's what I mean by running chalk.
Okay.
Outside of Texas Southern being the number 1 seed and they win it, it never goes chalk. Never.
Okay. Goes chalk. Okay, I like that. Okay. Let me say this, and this is not no inside information. I'm just telling you off my opinion. If the Bama from Alabama A&M lose, he's getting fired. So I'm saying that hot take. Listen, that ain't
the light skinned brother.
Yeah, gone. Okay.
I saw him Saturday, and I said he should have been fired Saturday, but his team snuck into the tournament, and it is what it is. But you never know what you're gonna get out of this semifinal. And I give you this. If I have a favorite, I'm going to say Southern because of what they did in the regular season, losing, like I said, 3 conference games by a combined 3 points, twice to Alabama State, once to Bethune-Cookman. And Bethune-Cookman, for me, is the team to watch out for. Reggie Theus gets this team ready to play. They have a good ball club. They don't quite have the depth from the bench, but nonetheless, they are a team to watch out for. I'm going to tell you why I like Southern, though. They rotated in and out in terms of the bench. Southern has the number 1 scoring bench on the men's side in the nation.
Wow.
So what Kevin Johnson likes to do is rotate an entire roster in and out on the floor. He likes to keep fresh legs. And what he said to me on Saturday was, it's good to be in this position, not having to deal with injuries to the depth. That's something that could help Southern in this one. But once again, Alabama State said, I don't care. And they came into Baton Rouge. And the name of the game of this tournament is going to be free throws. I have seen teams struggle throughout the season, knocking down free throws. And when you start to see the ending of these games and the scores, you go back and look at the free throw percentages. Free throws have been the name of the game, why teams lose and why teams win. Alabama State is a team that has knocked down the free throws when they need it. Bethune-Cookman is another team. Jackson State just plays tough and hard. When they played Southern here in Baton Rouge, the one time they played, it went into overtime. And they have a guy that is a All-American coming out of high school that is a baller. Listen, all of these teams, you need to watch every one of these games from Tuesday all the way to Saturday, because I think you're going to be entertained when you watch Swac basketball on the men's side this year, more than what you've seen in the past.
I might have to give it a look. I'm not going to lie to you. All right. Mostly I'll just let this, I'll be like, well, who cares? But, you know, it is what it is. Let's get to the women's. All right. Damn, Southern's number 1 in women's too?
I would like to tell everybody here with this announcement, Southern's going both men and women regular season titles. But I don't want to speak too fast, because what the hell is a regular season title when you got the tournament in front of you? You got to close the deal. This is a whole nother part of the season. If not, you may find yourself in the NIT, WNIT, or one of those other basketball postseason tournaments. But yes, Southern closed it out. But you know what makes me nervous about Southern? They lost their last game of the regular season against Coach Don Thornton in Alabama A&M. Don Thornton,
come
as
on
we've
now,
all seen, she's been viral with her style. But she comes over to Alabama A&M in year 1, coming from UAPB. And we can recall she took on Southern when she was at UAPB, taking UAPB to their first ever Swac championship appearance. Southern got by them. But let me tell you, it was a tough-ass game. Don Thornton knows what she's doing. And to come into Baton Rouge the way that she did Saturday and lead her team to a victory, Alabama A&M, people, is a team to watch on the women's side. I'm just putting it out there. You better watch out for Alabama A&M. Texas Southern was a team coming into Baton Rouge just a couple weeks ago on a 10-game win streak. They were 10-0 in conference play. They ended up losing to Southern and breaking that 10-game win streak, and then they lost to Grambling, and then they kind of unfolded there for a second, but they since got back on track. Texas Southern women is another team to watch out for, and of course, Jackson State, still continuing the tradition of being just a diamond in the rough, as I like to call on the overall landscape of women's basketball. They found themselves in the tournament, and listen, Grambling is a team you better watch out for. Alcorn women, now the dark horse, Alcorn women found themselves in the Swac championship last year against Jackson State. Once again, Alcorn State women are like in the middle of the pack. They're nothing to rave about, but once again, they can beat anybody any given day. And I think a team to really watch out for, Florida A&M and Mississippi Valley. In that opening game, pay attention to those two teams. Valley. How about Valley sneaking their way into the tournament, beating Jackson State on Saturday, and then Florida A&M giving Southern a run for their money. Once again, just like I said with the men, on the women's side, anybody's game. I don't care about no seeding number and whatever it is. We have some basketball to be played, and I think you're going to see some March Madness.
Well, before you go, I actually got an announcement to make as well. Jackson State Talia Dealworth was today announced the SWAC Women's Player of the Year. But also, Southern's coach, excuse me, Coach Funches, actually named Coach of the Year. And you got, I forgot Brown over at Alcorn with the Defensive Player of the Year. And Talia Dealworth was also named the Newcomer of the Year. They released the first team and the second team, all conference team today as well. And look, Perry's spot on. The women's game now with Tamika Reed leaving, it actually shows a little bit more parity within the league. You know, Southern came on. And again, if you go back to the beginning of the season, the way Alabama A&M stormed out against everybody, right? The way they were looking coming in with their non-conference record, looking at what Dawn did in their first year. Jackson State is the surprising team to me, you know, knowing that Coach Richard came in so late and, you know, putting the team together so late. And for her to even finish fourth, she should be commended for. But again, like he said, losing that last week to Valley. And Valley, believe it or not, has the best record in the state of Mississippi among all SWAC schools against each other head-to-head. So that's saying something, right? When we talk about what Alcorn did last year and how they're looking thus far. So Valley, like he stated, that FAMU Valley game is going to be one to watch going to that opening round. But my team, who I'm really picking as my dark horse, well, I shouldn't say dark horse because of where they sit, but man, it's Texas Southern. Man, Coach Skinner did a damn good job this year. And they're going to be a tough out. They're going to be a real tough out. And again, as well as Alabama A&M played, you wouldn't think they'd be sitting at third. Texas Southern is, right? And so, again, the top half of the SWAC, those top four teams, any one of those four teams could really, you can see winning it. Again, Southern the favorite, deservedly so. But Texas Southern is the one I got my eye
on. Some inside information, because I know we don't get a lot of that from SWAC stuff. I want to be very clear. A&M lost their top two scorers in the first half of the season. But before the Jackson State game and when they came into conference play, one was to a torn ACL, and I think another one had like a quad injury or something like that. So she is doing this, losing her top two scorers and still being able to come in as the number 3 seed in the SWAC tournament. I think is a tremendous job. And again, now you're calling and pulling on girls that usually wouldn't play. And now they've had the season to kind of get ready and prepare themselves for this moment right here. And let me also say, 21 wins in your first year and is a school record is nothing to scoff at as well. And I told people when she got the job that it was probably one of the best hires that they could have had at Alabama A&M because of her recruiting prowess at UAPB. You give her some resources at A&M to see what she does. Now, listen, you might not care. You might not, I like women's basketball. I'm more of a fan of women's basketball. I like that A&M and Jackson are on opposite sides of the bracket. I really like that. Now, I don't know if they're going to meet up, but I really, really enjoy them being on the opposite side of the brackets. Too many times I've seen this come in early, and you're like, dang, I really want to see that matchup later in the year or in the championship game. And even with A&M and Southern, you know what I'm saying? So I'm rooting for A&M. I'm rooting for Don to take it all the way. I think this is a great opportunity. I'll tell you, if in this year, I'm telling you right now, and I mean this with everything I love. I feel like Dion for I'm Dion for Dawn. You better get her this year. You better get her now, because I'm telling you, another year for her to recruit is going to be a problem. I'm just telling you that right now. It's going to be a problem coming into next year. You're not going to be able to keep her, and I would not be surprised. I'm not saying she's going to be on Tamika's level, but I do think she has a Tamika level recruiting prowess that you will see because she had to deal with her. You had to deal with it, right? So, and shout out to Tamika Reed at Charlotte in the quarterfinals as the number 12 seed. Shout out to her too.
And she had to deal with Southern's. Let's just not act like it was all Tamika Reed.
Dog,
Southern beat them for a conference championship.
I got a lucky buzzer beater at the end. Man,
Southern beat them for a conference championship. Let's just not act like it was Tamika Reed. There's a conference out here, and if I tell you, I will watch that top bracket: Jackson State versus Grambling and Southern. It does not matter between Florida A&M and Mississippi Valley. Both those teams can sneak you at any given time. I think that top bracket is going to be a tough one with Southern, Grambling, Jackson, Mississippi Valley, and Florida A&M. All of those teams are capable of winning the Swac championship this year.
Well, listen, I guess everybody should be tuned in and ready to roll and check it out. I heard the arena is a little bit more condensed and it has a better vibe and better feel. So make sure you guys go out and pack it out. The Swac doesn't do much promotion, so we'll do it for them for free, even though we shouldn't. So make sure you go and attend. Make sure you go into the Swac basketball tournament. It's in Atlanta.
I think it's gonna be attended good, man. It's down in College Park. It's a good arena. Right out in the state. I think it's gonna be attended well.
We shall see. Now, listen, hot news. Hot news this weekend. Eddie George is now a Falcon. He has gone to Bowling Green. Fellas, good move or bad move? Zoe, I'll start with you.
I would say it's a good move. The reason why I say that is, again, we look at Eddie George, go back to the genesis of him actually being at Tennessee State. He had no idea and had no interest in coaching at all. So his whole timeline changed the moment he got into it. He came in with no fanfare, pretty much leaving without any as well. And his coaching tenure was totally different than, the whole standard of Coach Prime, right? The whole celebrity hire, because he was the next big name to get hired after Coach Prime. And so it received a little fanfare, but total different circumstances, right? And so again, you're talking about a guy who didn't want to coach, got into it, took the stairs, took the methodical approach, won in his fourth year, and now is transitioning that to what he would perceive to be a move up in the other direction. And we'll get into the other parameters in regards to, why he actually made that decision. But I think for him, if he changed his goal for him, if he says, hey, I want to get to an Power 4 level, then he would have to go up to an FBS level, i.e. like Willie Simmons. And he did it in a shorter path, right? Coach for 4 years, found a semblance of success, and there's a tie-in, right? He's a former Heisman player in the state of Ohio. He's going to a place that he's familiar with, at least within the state. And there's a buzz, for him to be there more so in Bowling Green than it was at Tennessee State when he got hired. So pretty much looking at it like a move up for him and in his, I guess, rise up to an FBS or a Power 4 coach.
What you got, P?
I'm going to stay on track with Zoe. I'm going to say it's a good move. Every coach, regardless of what the FBS team is, wants to move up. Look at Willie Simmons, right? What's my man over at Kennesaw State?
Jerry Mack.
Hey, you just want to continue that trajectory. You're never going to just walk into the door and get the opportunity at one of the Power 5 schools, right? The Power 4. But you have to prove yourself. This was a proving ground for a guy, y'all remember the name? Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer started out at Bowling Green before he went on to Utah and ultimately Florida and Ohio State. Eddie George is a coach, and we heard the same thing from Michael Vick. The HBCUs, when you look at these guys, is just a start. It's not the old school days of the longevity like a Eddie Robertson where I want to be here 30, 40 years and I'm looking to retire. These guys understand it's an opportunity to start. Even take Deion Sanders. He had me fooled. Zoe, I thought he was going to stay with Jack. I thought we'll still be talking about Deion at Jackson. But the opportunity presented itself when they took him to Boulder, Colorado. He saw the facilities.
Those are.
And he saw everything else. And he said, He took a deep breath. He said, the air out here is so much better. It ain't so much gun smoke in the air. Woo, it smells so much better than Jackson, Mississippi out here in Bo. This the water. So much clearer. I couldn't help myself, so I'm sorry. I just could not help myself. All right, but to go back to Eddie George, you know, you're looking at a guy who was at Tennessee State in his first year. He went 5-6. In year 2, he went 4-7. Year 3, he went 6-5. We saw an uptick, and then last year he goes 9-4. He wins a share of the Big South Ohio Valley Conference. He gets that money that they offered to write a part of his contract, because I think his contract was somewhere in the ballpark of about $400,000. When I looked at Bowling Green's head coaching contract, we're talking somewhere at about the mid 500,000 range. So we're talking about $100,000 increase. But most importantly, when you start to move up, you start to talk about not yourself, but your assistants. And we all understand typically there's a big drop off when you're looking at head coach to assistants, especially as we call it, quote unquote, the low resource institutions of the HBCUs. Eddie George takes over a program after leaving, going 24-22 at Tennessee State. But then you look at Bowling Green's coach last year. He leaves to go be the quarterback coach for the Philadelphia Eagles. So it just shows being in that situation, just moving up, and whether people want to give credit to Bowling Green or not, Bowling Green has an overall winning record as a program. They compete in the MAC, and we always know in the MAC, you get those Thursday night games, right? When nobody else is playing, you get an opportunity to showcase yourself. I can't tell you this time I saw Tennessee State on television. Tim, I can't tell you.
That's fair.
You may have had to stream it, but I cannot tell you, especially competing against the FCS teams like the Swac and the MEAC, getting those Friday night games and a Saturday game. This is an opportunity, I think, for Eddie George for what he wants to do in building his career and getting that opportunity to the next step. This is the next step, because I'm telling you, any coach in the Swac, the MEAC, and just as you saw in the Big South Ohio Valley Conference, if you get this opportunity, you're going to take it because you see what's on the other side of it. If you can go to Tennessee State and be successful, people come calling, which is how he got the Bowling Green. Get the Bowling Green, Florida International, and Kennesaw State, and win some games, people will come calling. At the end of the day, that's all everybody wants. They want the call to come up, and I think Eddie George realizes for him as a coach, this is the next step to compete on the FBS level.
I also want to add to that. I want to state that I know people may not want to hear it or like to see it, but this will be, for all intents and purposes, the 4th HBCU head coach to actually matriculate up to the FBS as a head coach. The 4th one.
2 celebrities, 2 regular guys.
But still, all in all, the 4th one. And and before Coach Prime, you couldn't say that at all.
Yeah, other than Jay Hobson.
Oh well, yeah, Jay Hobson.
But I keep it black. I like to keep it black. You know,
but be it as it may, again, you see what I'm saying, you still have the 4th HBCU coach in the past 3 years. That's a good stat to have, you know, and you look at seeing what happened with tangible success on the landscape now to see what opportunities would it present. And also, too, I know people don't like to see it, but Eddie George looked to see who he's going to do with regards to his staff. We saw what Willis Simmons did. See what Jerry Mack did as well. To see who is going to bring up to get these other opportunities. Because, again, as we go on down the line, down the year, Scotty, let's say you have another good OC or DC on his staff that may get another job as a head coach in the HBCU ranks, or they can matriculate themselves and get a head coaching opportunity in the FBS level.
Okay, so let me say this. I think it's a bad move and a good move, right? It's a bad move because I don't think Eddie George really understands what he's walking into at Bowling Green. I really don't. And it's a good move because financially, Tennessee State was strapped. Right? It was a sinking ship. Right? It's like thank God I got to get off of this boat before it sunk on me. Right?
He interviewed everywhere, Scott. He was interviewing everywhere.
You know, raising his hand. Hey, listen, and I'm gonna be honest. Oh, I was hearing rumblings around the coaches conference that I was at that it was a tricky situation at Tennessee State. You know what I'm saying? So this was coming, right? The bad move is Bowling Green. I can't, like, yes, it's an FBS program, And yes, he's he's an Ohio State alum. Okay, whoop-de-doo. It's still Bowling Green. Okay?
I don't look at
And
it
we
that way.
have this conversation though, by the way that he got there, it wasn't the trajectory that we thought we were going to see, quote unquote. We're calling it the celebrity coaching hire right on our level. But what it really is former NFL guys with popularity behind them. Eddie George was not quite the popular guy when you put him side to side next to Deion Sanders. But he quietly made it work at Tennessee State. And we all saw the writing on the wall at Tennessee State, but he didn't complain. He wasn't yelling out loud about what we don't have and what we don't do. He just quietly went to work and he took them where he could. I think what he saw the writing on the wall on the FCS level for him to get them where they were in the FCS playoffs, considering the conference that they in, you maxed out. It's nothing more you can do at Tennessee State considering the conference that they in. And there's no way Tennessee State is going to compete for an FCS national title. And I think the writing on the wall was for him going into the playoffs, realizing like, shit, I know I got a damn good team, but when you look at the playoffs and you see those teams, that's the flagships like the Montanas, the North Dakotas, the South Dakotas, it's just a different way of life when you look at the budgets and what they're willing to put into their programs. Tennessee State, we've all seen the articles that what willing to put in the program, they need to put into the whole school. They don't have a place to just focus on football and say we're willing to pump all this money into football when this school as a whole is dealing with issues. But I think at the end of the day, for me, regardless if it's Bowling Green, and we may not put much emphasis on Bowling Green because, in all honesty, when the last time any of us watched a Bowling Green game?
I have. I watched because Hilaire from A&M, he went to Bowling Green. So
I'm gonna say I watched them in the bowl game because they played Arkansas State this year, Ventures Bowl. Yeah. Arkansas State won the game 38-31, but nonetheless, I watched them. Huh?
It was a good game. It was a really good game.
It was a damn good game. But this is what you want. You want to be able to move up, and now you got a little bit more resources. $100,000 in the pay. I don't think Eddie George worried about that, but I can't count nobody's pockets because I don't know what nobody's sitting on. But at the end of the day, if you just want to be a football coach, this makes sense because I did all I could do at a low resource institution. Can I just get some resources? And I think that's what this move was, getting some resources to show, okay, let's see what more can I do. And the MAC is a winnable league for him to go in. And if he's willing to take the steps the same way he did at Tennessee State, the MAC ain't too hard for him to go in and do what he needs to do to show that he's a proven coach.
And the one thing about it, too, is if he wins there, he's going to get some opportunities. Again, the connection to Ohio State, being in the state of Ohio, and again, it'll present some other opportunities. He's tied to other NFL coaches. Again, he's interviewing for NFL jobs. He's going to continue to do that. His name is going to be out there. So again, the opportunity is there. I'm very familiar with Bowling Green. Watched a lot of them in the past with Josh Cribbs and other players. But if he has success there, I mean, Urban Meyer did it, and they were rolling when Urban Meyer was there. So had Dan Muller with him as well. So if he wins there, he'll have some opportunity.
All right, here's a video from the press conference.
To find out who the leaders are that are going to emerge from this. Because I have every aspiration and intention on winning the MAC this year. That is the goal. And to continue the success of this program that Coach Lefter left here.
First of all, you know he's at a white institution. Boy, them claps were all off beat. It was all off beat. Anyway, listen. Okay, so he puts Tennessee State in a predicament. He really does.
Bad predicament.
I mean, it's tough. You're probably going to have to go interim for this year. There's no way you're finding a guy that quickly to turn around the program. You're probably going to have to run interim.
Scotty, did they not see the writing on the wall with all the interviews?
I'm telling you, man. He was interviewing left and right,
he was up for interview for the Chicago Bears, I instantly was like, hey, the man is trying to move around. He's showing y'all he's trying to move around. You might want a contingency plan. You might want a plan B just to fall back on because right now, Eddie George is showing you he's doing his best to move around.
Yeah, and listen, you got to prepare. You got to have an interim guy that you feel can keep some of the kids there. You know what I'm saying? To just, kind of hone it in. But the question is what I mean, what's next for TSU is two-part. What coach do you think should go to TSU? And is it Is any realistically coach wants to go? What coach will want to walk into a situation like this, right?
Oh,
Financially, you don't know what's going on. You don't know what that boat looks like, right? You're probably going to get raided in the spring by Eddie George and all his top players going to Bowling Green. So, what does it look like?
It'll still be attractive.
Johnny Cole want a job? Coach Cole.
It will
Here
still.
you go.
I'm telling you, it'll still be an attractive job. There are going to be plenty of HBCU guys, OCs and DCs are going to apply for this job. At the end of the day, it's still Tennessee State. Most draft picks out of all FCS schools. The only number 1 overall pick, well, second out between them and Grambling, but there are going to be some guys who are going to put in for this job. Now, granted, they already know, to your point, Scotty, that first year they take it on the chin. So they're gonna have, if I'm taking this job, going with year 2 in mind as it is, being that I'm going too late. Because I can tell you right now, even when you look at interim basis, right? Look at the staff that Eddie George brought in. It was mostly guys that's tied to Jeff Fisher and other guys that associated with that. I don't see any guy pretty much staying over from that staff at Tennessee State. So I think you're gonna, and even if you do have an interim, there's gonna be a guy that's probably gonna be out or screwed over, for himself to leave and go somewhere else if they get a new guy. I saw the comment about Teddy Keaton. I think that is a damn good choice to go. That's a damn good choice to go because he can actually move up and he's been in this position before, right? So we're taking a job late, I would say, because when he did the Allen job, right? So I think Teddy Keaton would be a damn good move up place. The head coach left Allen, came over to Clark, did some things there. So it was a good move for him.
Listen, I'm gonna be honest. I think Tennessee State's the one program that does not feel like an HBCU. Like North Carolina A&T, even though they in the white conference, they still give you black vibes, right? They still come back, they come around the friends and they hang out, they get together, you know what I'm saying? They drink a little drink. Tennessee State, and you can't tell me it didn't bother Eddie George that he wasn't getting the support that he felt he deserved for what he had accomplished at Tennessee State. And I think, and you can say whatever you want, I think that's going to affect some coaches. Like, they were like, damn, like, even if you win, there is still no support.
Scotty, I was going to go with you on this one because, I know when we say HBCUs, the first thing people do is want to run to the HBCU rank of the coaches who we're familiar with, whether it's a D2 or whether it's FCS level. But I think just like you look with them going to Eddie George, I will look outside of the HBCU rank if I'm them, because at the end of the day, your problems ain't the rest of these schools' problems when you're looking at what you're competing against.
Facts.
You only compete against 3, maybe 4 HBCUs, and the rest of your schedule is against what? PWIs. You're looking for somebody who ain't trying to be HBCU good, which is why I like the coach at Prairie View when he came there from Valdosta State. What did he say? Man, I ain't worried about the HBCU. I'm worried about the word FCS. If you go to Tennessee State, you don't want to hear a coach talking about HBCU because when it matters, it's against FCS. Eddie George realized that quick, fast, in a hurry when he made it to what? The FCS playoffs. At the end of the day, that's what Tennessee State has to focus on. It's not a celebration bowl, and it does not look like it's going to be that for the foreseeable future. It's going to be the FCS playoffs. You need a coach to go in and understand what it takes to take on the likes of the FCS teams in the Big South Ohio Valley Conference and beyond that when you're looking at the FCS playoffs. And for me, they can follow the same route and maybe go find another coach just like Eddie George, the quote-unquote celebrity hire, a.k.a. the former NFL guy, right? They can go that route or they can go around the landscape. I'm interested to see, and I'm going to ask you guys, how high is Tennessee State just in the world of FCS, considering they coming off a playoff, considering they coming off a share of the conference championship? Is this a job where you think the applications come rolling in, but at the same time, just like we saw Ed Reed at Bethune-Cookman, it looked good from the inside till you get there and like, you know what? Damn. I do not have everything I think I want. It looks good and it sounds good, but I may not have all that I need to truly be successful. So I'm really going to have to tie my shoe tight, pull my bootstraps up, and I'm going to have to go to work, and I'm going to have to do it the old-fashioned way, just getting it out the mud.
Well, I would actually add to that. I think before this year, had he left last season, I think that you wouldn't be asking that question. We cannot have this conversation without mentioning the actual point of the financial strains that they have, because that's a very tangible thing. You know, I think if any celebrity coach or former coach actually reaches out to Eddie George and gets that intel, probably pulls his name out the hat. That's a very tangible thing. So when we talk about how attractive the job is, I would say prior to this, it's a very attractive job. It's in Nashville, no state income tax. It's one of the preeminent HBCUs when you talk about tradition, law, and everything else. There's a lot to go with it. And they have financial support. They may not always have fan support, you know what I'm saying? But they do things in place, with regards to Tennessee State. But, man, the financial constraints that they have, I mean, I'm serious. Even some guys who are fringe guys that we think, and I'm going to use the example, like I mentioned Teddy Keaton, but even he himself, remember, he's coaching somewhere. And if he actually finds out what all goes on with that job, hell, he may even say, nah, I can't do it. You know what I'm saying? So that's a very tangible thing in regards to how the job look. I would say prior to this season with the financial constraints, it's up there. But now we really don't have a clue, because I'm telling you, if any NFL player, like even worth a name to say, man, Eddie, and get that intel, it's going to be tough, because, again, it's not just my pay. It's paying the staff, or, hey, what shortcomings will we have with regards to scholarships? Hey, we mentioned about opting in. Are they going to opt in? Hell, can they fund the opt-in? Hell, can they fund the 63/85? There's a lot that goes to that, right, that we don't know. But we know they got some, man, I'm telling you, it's a major, major financial constraints, not just on the athletic department, hell, for the entire school.
So word on the street is Fred McNair has applied for the job or is in contact for the job. Just want to give you the heads up. So look at some of these short list names. If you don't know these guys, some of them I will, Tony Hall, OC at Grambling, was the OC at UAPB as well. Matt, and the reason let me be very clear. The reason I went Tony Hall is he has a lot of PWI connections. He is not just an HBCU guy. Kansas State, ULM, he has a lot of PWI connections, has a lot of tentacles that go a long way. Was part of one of he recruited Jamar Chase to Kansas State before Jamar Chase flip-flopped and went to LSU. Matt Leon, you already know what he is. OC at NCCU. Steve Anise and Tony Anise, they are the father and son at Ferris State. Okay, the Division II national champions. Steve Anise is the OC. Tony Anise is the head coach. Listen, I'm taking both of them ninjas, okay? I need both of y'all niggas to come over here to Tennessee State, fix this. Maurice Flowers, I love what he's doing at Johnson C. Smith. I think it's absolutely amazing. And listen, you can go a celeb hire and run it back. Now, to me, the only thing that makes sense at TSU, and please help me if I think, is getting the Cromarties to come back to Tennessee State. Right, getting Antonio Cromartie, Dominic Rogers-Cromartie, having them come back. He wants to coach. I don't have a problem with that. Coach Cole probably is going to hate me for saying this, but I mean that's what I would do. I like the Teddy Keaton. Listen, man, this job. I think Fred McNair is a great coach. I really do. I don't know if he's FCS playoffs great coach. I don't know. I don't think for what you're trying to do. I don't know if Fred McNair is the right person for that fit. I wouldn't mind rocking the cradle on Jay Hobson. I really wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? To see what he can do, and he understands the limitations of HBCUs. But I think you got to go find guys that really know how to build a program.
Well, come out of the HBCU realm and make yourself available to the FCS realm.
Yeah.
Find coaches that are out there who looking for opportunities. One of the disheartening things, I think, even with Eddie George at Tennessee State, even in finding some wins and finding some success, he did a cry out to the fan base. Hey, I need your support. It was different from Deion being at Jackson and getting the fan support no matter where they went. That was easy. It felt good to win when you had people behind you to support you. Tennessee State, no matter, this team won a share of the Big South Ohio Valley Conference, something they had not done in a long time, and found themselves in the FCS playoffs. Yet, if you listen for Tennessee State fans, it's quiet in this motherfucker. They know where to be found. And that is a hard thing, but guess what? If you find somebody out of the FCS realm who understands that, they know if you're not the Dakotas, the Montanas, that typically that's what goes with this. You just got to be a football coach ready to go win, regardless of who shows up and who don't show up. And I think for me, looking at Tennessee State, because business is different from when we look at Swac and MEAC. I get it. MEAC teams do schedule non-conference against tough opponents in the FCS realm, but you get to walk away from them. Then you get 4 games to play in the MEAC and find yourself in a MEAC championship. Well, win a MEAC championship into a celebration bowl. Ask Chennis Berry. A different story at Tennessee State.
Yeah.
Right. You got to come ready to play with UT Martin, Southeast Missouri State, so many other teams each and every week that you know is not going to play the same ball that you're going to get in that level. Tennessee Tech, the same, that they're not going to play that same level of ball that you're going to get on that HBCU level. So I just think you got to get somebody in there to understand that this is a different game compared to the rest of the HBCUs. Yes, it is an HBCU, but we talk about A&T being in the CAA and along with Hampton. This is a far different stroke because this team simply knows this. Those are newcomers to the white world. Tennessee State has been in the white world, so I think you got to have that understanding. In the white world, the game is just played different. And it's going to come down to who can build a staff, most importantly, around them.
I tell you what, I will go on record now. With everything going on at Tennessee State, I would be shocked at all. I'm willing to bet you it's probably going to end up being Fred McNair as the head coach over at Tennessee State. When you factor in everything that's going on and the restrictions that they got and the financial constraints, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
You know who I like, and I know this is going to sound, I would like Vincent Dancy. I think Vincent Dancy would do a damn good job at Tennessee State, and this is the reason why. And I feel like Zoe, like, let me work real quick. Let me cook this thing up, right?
True.
Him having time at Valley. All right, him being at Valley and understand and being competitive at Valley. It wasn't a rec league like Valley was after he left. He was very competitive. The FAMU games, the Jack State games, they were all competitive games. I would like to see Vincent Dancy take the mindset that he's got from PWI. He's at Mississippi State right now. He probably ain't gonna lead that. He definitely probably gonna lead that for no just Tennessee State.
I would listen, Scott. Once you get a sip of that white water, ask Jerry Mack, ask Willie Simmons. It's a little bit different to say you want to come back and deal with some nigga shit. It's just a little different.
I was going to say,
get to the other side, it's a little different.
I was going to say Eddie Jones was making $400K at Tennessee State, and Dancy was making almost double that at Colorado. He's probably making around the same thing at Mississippi State. Not that much. I think it's around $600,000. I don't see him taking a pay cut, and I don't see them actually paying more than they were paying Eddie George for a head coach.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. I would like
on top of, if you're not successful at Tennessee State, where do you go?
Where do you go? That's fair.
If I'm already in a round where I can keep my name going around, being a position coach on the FBS level, making what a FCS head coach is making, and this is on the high end, why do I go back? And if I understand the constraints, I'm with you. I take the guys from Ferris State. Simple as said.
Hey, listen.
You won a D2 national championship. You understand what it's like not to have a lot. And you understand what it's like to play white schools. Yes, there is a day and night difference between playing black schools and white schools. People, we're not going to sit here and continue to act like it's all the same realm. It is not, because at the end of the day, what you saw at Ferris State, they had to go through the Division II playoffs, which is no slouch. I'm curious to see how many Swac schools could survive the Division II playoffs to make it to a championship. But nonetheless, you understand there's a different world. That's a different animal. You want coaches who understand that playoff. You want coaches that understand level of competition. If you're going to ask me if those guys are short list names, I'm looking at those guys from Ferris State and saying, hey, you know what? What you did at Ferris State, you understand X, Y, Z. Let's see, can you bring that here?
All right, last point, Zoe.
No, I was going to say, we mentioned about the coach from Ferris State. I think it sounds great. I mean, logically, I would say yes, right? That logically makes sense. But with that same coach, when it comes to Tennessee State, under the constraints that is under right now, I don't think so. I'm telling you, it's going to be a hard thing for them to find, I believe, a really, really great quality coach if we're keeping in mind with the FCS playoffs, because again, we already have restrictions. Then now we're adding to that. I mean, it's just compounded. And so that's why I think it's going to hinder the hiring process of how good of a quality coach they can actually get.
I'll say this: if I'm Teddy Keaton, I don't take this job. Me personally, if I'm Teddy Keaton, I don't take this job. Clark Atlanta is not bad, you know what I'm saying, as a great stepping stone for Teddy Keaton. But if they come calling with the right numbers, who's to say? But if I'm Maurice Flowers at John C. Smith, I take this job. Like I'm out, I'm gone. You know what I'm saying? I really believe that. But go ahead, P.
At the end of the day, this is different from what we see at the predominantly black institutions, considering the MAC, the MEAC, and the Swac. Celebration Bowl ain't the end-all, be-all here. FCS National Championship is the end-all, be-all here. And we all understand how hard it is to get to that. We all understand how hard it is just to get an FCS playoff win. Ask Florida A&M, ask North Carolina Central, ask Tennessee State last year. At the end of the day, you got to get a coach in there that understands the mindset that postseason play here, we don't settle for a conference championship, and we're not selling because we don't participate in the Celebration Bowl. We're trying to make a deep run into the FCS playoffs and eventually find ourselves in the FCS National Championship. When you a school like this playing in the conference that they are, no doubt about it, ain't no other way around it. That is the end-all, be-all goal. You have to have a coach that comes in and understand that end-all, be-all goal, and not just saying like A&T. Well, my man A&T Roy come in, well, at least we beat the Blacks. And they just forgot about everybody else, let alone postseason. They just looking at beating Winston-Salem and trying to beat South Carolina State and Hampton. It's a different story at Tennessee State. You got to have somebody to realize there's a goal here. It's an FCS national championship, nothing less. Whoever comes in got to have that mindset. FCS national championship. We're trying to be the FCS national powerhouse in Nashville.
Last thing, and then we'll go to commercial. But my thing is this: is if I'm Tennessee State, every D2 football coach that was in the playoffs, I'm hollering at you. If you was in the quarterfinals, semifinals, or whatever, I'm hollering at you. Hey, big head in the DMs, because again, like we've all said, this is a different beast that you're dealing with when you're talking about FCS, PWIs, and trying to take the program to a national stage. You got to start talking to the semifinal, quarterfinal coaches and just saying, hey, what is the interest of you coming over here at Tennessee State? What are some of the things you're looking for or whatever? And you could probably get a lot of those guys on a discount. You know what I'm saying? 200,000, 250, maybe 275. You know what I'm saying? But I'm reaching out to see if I can get you to the program and see if we can build something special, because again, this is going to be a rebuild. Flat out. It's going to be a rebuild. Anything so before we go to the commercial?
No, we're good.
All right, guys, listen, you've been watching 3Neegrows. Take this quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
What's up, world? It's your boy, Zoe Phillips. I'm here today to introduce to you guys a game-changer in HBCU sports coverage. Zoe, what are you talking about? First and Goal, the future of HBCU sports TV and HBCU sports culture. And I need you to come be a part of history. What are you talking about exactly? Look, man, as you guys know, for far too long, as long as I've been alive, HBCU sports have been underrepresented on major networks. We pretty much just stream now and that's it. But that changes today. First and Goal is a groundbreaking new sports TV show that will bring unmatched coverage, in-depth analysis, and exclusive access to all our schools to show the rich culture and talent of HBCU athletics. And the best part? Linear TV networks are already showing interest.
Say what?
You heard that right. Linear TV networks are already showing interest. So we need all of y'all to come in and be a part of history.
We're ready to kick off, but we need you. Look, producing a top-tier television show takes resources. And right now, we're procuring initial startup capital to fuel this movement. The funder will cover state-of-the-art production, high-quality storytelling, and dynamic on-screen talent, all to ensure that HBCU sports get the national attention that we deserve. Come on, y'all. We ought to get what we deserve. Not what they give us, but what we deserve.
I know what you're thinking. Why invest in First and Goal? Well, let me give you 4 reasons. Number 1, come on now. It's an untapped market. There are millions upon millions of HBCU fans, sports, band fanatics all around that are looking for better coverage of their HBCU sports. Number 2, TV interest. There are networks that recognize the value of HBCU sports and want to get in the game. Simple as that, right? Number 3, growth opportunity. Listen, sports programming is at a premium. Everybody's looking to consume it. Everybody's looking to get in the game and to be on the forefront of HBCU sports and have that growth opportunity. You can't beat it. And last but not least, listen, it's a cultural impact, right? This is bigger than just the show. It is for the culture. It is for HBCU sports. So you want to know why to invest in First and Goal? I just gave you 4 reasons.
Because when you join the team, you also become a part of history. Whether you're an investor, corporate sponsor, or you just believe in the power of HBCU sports and entertainment, this is the opportunity and chance to put our brand, the HBCU sports and entertainment brand, on the highest level in the national stage. If you're a potential investor or corporate sponsor, email us at firstandgoalshow@gmail.com. Again, that's firstandgoalshow@gmail.com. While you're there, make sure you follow us on all different social media platforms so you stay up to date on all things First and Goal. Lastly, we thank you for your contribution. We appreciate your partnership, and we will see you on the other side of this. Thank you. Have a very blessed day, and we'll see you soon.
Man, that's the commercial for First and Goal, man. Make sure you guys take y'all butts over to firstandgoalshow.com, donate so we can put this pilot together, man. We got some big stuff coming down the works. Can't tell you where we're going to be on location just yet. But First and Goal will be shooting this pilot pretty soon during the spring game season. Make sure you guys go to firstandgoalshow.com. Go over there. Anybody that donates over $20 gets a reward. All right. Anybody that donates over $20 will get a reward. Appreciate you guys for the support. And always, listen, make sure Monday, May 5th, you sign up and get in the game. Listen, at the Crystal Lake Golf and Country Club, the Tubman Museum Golf Tournament is in full effect, partnering with the Alabama State men and women's golf teams. Man, registration for foursomes, if that's what you're into, it's $500, and individual is $150. You can register at www.tubmangolf.org. That is www.tubmangolf.org. Hey, Perry, how's my I know you do radio. How my commercial drops? How they coming?
I wanted to ask how many times did it take y'all ass to get that drop? How many readings? You know, are you one take and you done, or it was like 3, 4, 5? Who wrote it?
So Zoe put it in ChatGPT, and ChatGPT gave us the whole script.
A+. A+ every time.
Listen, I did mine about. I wish I could turn my camera around so you can see. I had it taped, so I had it taped on my TV, so I can see it. And
I didn't know if you had your wife behind it. And she was taking the car. She was like, "This is it. Oh no, read this one. Read this one."
So I'm not good at just like going by the script, so I had to just do the big notes, and then like I freestyled everything else. So I probably did mine like 4 times. This dude, 72 times. No, the first one he did, he was like, "Hi, I'm Zoe Phillips." I was like, "Dog, you're not reeling from mesothelioma."
Wait, y'all did this all together while everybody was watching?
No, so so we have a StreamYard together, right? No, Diddy. That just sounds weird, right? We have a StreamYard account that we all can jump on. So Zoe was recording his through StreamYard, so I came into the studio and I'm just watching like as he's recording it because I'm editing it all, right? And he's just stopping and starting. I said, Lord have mercy. Me and Key watching it, just cracking up laughing. He couldn't hear or see us laughing, but that joke was hilarious.
But I felt it though. I felt it. I even told him. Yeah, man. Woo.
Welcome to my world. Listen, people think that shit is easy. It's easy to just come on here and speak our opinions. right? But then when it's time to put something to it, commercializing it means you got to read off something that somebody has put in place for you to sell something.
Yeah.
You find yourself reading for, you know, words jumbled together. You saying words that ain't even there. It's just like, damn, I didn't sound good. Run it back. No, let's do it one more time.
Yeah.
Then when you run it one more time, you realize, you know what? I sounded better 3 takes ago.
Yep. Yeah.
Trust me, I totally understand. But great job, fellas, because first and go from what I see what you guys are building, it's something that is a platform that I feel is something to build off of. And I think the minds that we have between you, Zoe, Scotty, BJ, all of you guys, and damn, what's my man?
Josh.
I'm sorry, Josh, because I watch your platform all the time. I apologize, Josh. Joshua Sims, senior. Because when he came on my show, I kept calling him junior. And he let it slide. And I called him next day. I said, bro, I didn't realize you're the senior. You're not even a junior, but you let that go. But it's all good. But I feel like you guys are the right minds to come together. Now, I would like to come on as a guest sometime. Now, don't leave your hair right out.
You know, we got you.
I ain't gonna read none of that shit y'all was reading. I ain't gonna let you come in and laugh at me, but trust me, I understand what it means, because when I started my own yard, bro, I used to write my own script to the different segments that I did. So I real life had to write scripts to segments. Man, let me tell you, and that was before ChatGPT. So Zoe, shout out to you, the cheat code. But listen, it is tough to read something, bro, and then listen to yourself and then put it up. So, man, you fellas did a good job. That all turned out well. That was very professional. It was very good. And I hope people listen to tune in and invest into what you guys are selling.
Man, yeah, it's dope, man. Shout out to my boy Reese. Thank you, man. 2 years in the game being a member, man. I appreciate that. And make sure y'all get y'all offscript memberships as well. All right, support the platform. Listen, let's get into it. Let's talk about this Breakfast Club interview by Kevin Hart and the importance of tapping in, man. This went viral. Shout out to Coach Tony Hall. He sent me this clip. I was like, damn, this is good. And I wanted to get you guys' opinion on how we can implement this in what we do in our culture in the HBCU world. Here is the clip.
You right now, talent caps out where it is when what you do is all you think you should do. In other words, like if I'm just doing stand-up comedy, and in doing stand-up comedy, I do the theaters and the arenas, okay, I can't do that every year and that's it. It will flatline. It will die down at some point. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but at some point it will digress. So if you don't offload and you don't figure out, I'm tapping into this and I'm tapping into this, or I'm tapping into that, this thing, that's one source of energy that you have, it'll get a little dim. That light ain't gonna fucking flicker the same. Don't tap into each other and figure out the way to make each other a valuable resource and asset, it will tap out. We're assets to one another. Like, say what you want, me and The Rock are assets to one another, man. DJ and I will get on the phone. We talk now. Hey, man, it's time for us to do something. We got to figure out the next thing. I don't want to be the only source of energy.
Right.
That's the only way that you continue to move forward. Writers, producers, I want to work with you. Kai, you're doing amazing shit in this streaming space, man. I got some shit to show you. I'm going to work with you. Like, you got to tap in. That's what people are afraid to do. And they're afraid to do it, especially in our culture, because we feel like there can only be one.
That's right. That's some good ass advice too, though, because that is the toughest thing, trying to convince this generation that there is another level, and what you're doing does have an expiration date if you don't diversify your portfolio.
1,000%. It's building correctly, and by the way, don't have to do it all in one day, man. I'm almost 30 years strong in this fucking business. You don't have to do it all in one day. The discovery is exciting when you start to figure it out and you start to see the things that you're changing or things that you're driving towards work. That's the exciting part. And the exciting part is when you're like, oh shit, I actually can do the shit that I'm thinking about. Like, oh fuck. Damn, I started off doing these videos and now the videos have turned into a business, but now the business has turned into a touring job. Now my radio job fucking offsets, promotes the fucking touring. By the way, my businesses are connecting. The dots are connecting. Say what you want. You can hate me or you can love me. I connect dots.
Guys, I really wanted to touch on this because I felt when and again, shout out to Coach Tony Hall sending this to me. When I was watching it, all I could think about was the HBCU space and community that we're in, and then 2, us as a people, right? So I'll limit it to just HBCU as of right now, and then we can kind of dive into the overarching of just Black people. But in the HBCU community, I think this has a vast systemic issue, right? Because I remember when I first got into the space and I didn't know anybody. I didn't know anybody. I will never forget. Perry reached out to me, called me. I don't even know how he got my number, right? He reached out to me and he said, "Man, I love what you're doing." I was in that same space. I was in between this, and he just chopped it up with me. And me and Perry have been cool ever since, right? Same thing. Zoe reached out to me. BJ reached out to me, right, when I was new in this space and trying to just finding my way and things like that. And now to be able to come on a platform and share a stage with you all means the world to me because of how organic the connection was in how we started. But I think about it in a bigger sense is because there is like an underworld of content that I feel like the Swac community and MEAC community and the HBCU overseers have not tapped into and tried to pull it up and really put it on platforms that we say, hey, we can do this all together. But I want you guys to tell what you feel, how Kevin Hart and what parts played in for you.
Let me jump on this pair right quick because I really want to dive into this. And Scott, I agree. I loved everything he said, but I want to correct you on something. You want to separate the two, but we can't. I'm gonna tell you why. HBCUs are a microcosm of Black America, so you can't separate the two. Basically, it is what it is. I loved every syllable he stated, but the only problem that I kind of see in it is for the majority of people who I believe hear it, even if they receive it, I think they'll see it in a singular view, meaning individually. When he's speaking, we need group economics and a whole group mindset, even when hearing it, because it speaks to what you're asking and how we should actually view it and how we should actually even talk about it, right? Because again, when we talk about the construct of Black America or HBCUs, right? Because again, they're intertwined with each other. It's a Black HBCUs are a microcosm of Black America. It's a safe haven for Black Americans, and that's why we thrive and go, to HBCUs because we thrive there. But man, the thing is that he's absolutely correct. When you talk about, doing something on your own, and that's why I always say, we talked about it too, about even the terminology of saying being self-made. But no, man, God directs your path. And the thing is, we have to work together. But the problem is we love to singularly do things. You know what I'm saying? And it's a beautiful thing when we come together and we work together and you see things multiply. Because again, we've talked about it before too, man. It's amazing how when you set your sights on something, man, how God intervenes and bring people. Notice what I said, bring people into your life to assist you. You don't do it alone. But again, we get in the way because we don't see that, and we fall short. And it's each one to each one. And so again, I love being in this space. I'm a creative, but I love to intertwine and react and do things with other people because again, man, I came along, I'm gonna die alone, but God brought us here to love each other and do for each other. All people. But we seem to fall short and don't do that. Because again, no man can do it alone. Even if you're self-made, God brings what? People in your life to assist you. But we lose sight of that. You know what I'm saying? And then again, when we get somewhere, we don't always reach back. And when we do, it's limited in how we reach back. Even if we get in a space right now where we can do things, man, look, Scotty, look, you reached out, hey, bro, you need to do this. This is how you do this. And we don't compete. You know what I'm saying? Even period. And we chop it up all the time, right? And even other spaces. And you've heard me say plenty of times, every school, every HBCU should be represented or have a platform. And I say, man, reach out to me if you need help. And I encourage it all. Each one reach one. But we say that in some instances, but we don't all do it. And the thing is, if we actually work together, to his point, if we actually do work together, man, do you understand what Black Americans could be in this country if we truly work together? Just imagine our greatest resource to me are our students and our youth at HBCUs. Now, we have some great young Black people at other institutions doing great things, right? But I'm speaking from HBCU standpoint. Man, do you understand if those youth, when they graduate, if they actually do as a unit, move together and do things together, man, do you understand what we could be in this country? Like, seriously. So, no, I loved every single thing that he stated, man. And I wish it resonated to where a grouping of people, not singularly, but a group of people say, and took heed to it and actually did something with it.
I guess I'll speak from my own personal experiences from being in the HBCU space. In terms of the media side, I'm not sure, Zoe, how long you've been in it, but I've been on the media side of HBCU since 2011. Who gave me an opportunity, and I always going to show love to him, my man Jared Carter, the founder of HBCU Digest. He came to my apartment in Baton Rouge because he heard me speak in front of the board at Southern University when Southern was filing for financial exigency because we had to deal with budget cuts at the time. And he was compelled by what he heard me say to the board. And he said, man, you being a young man and a student, that meant a lot to get in front of people that you can be intimidated of and speak your mind and to tell them how you feel when it comes down to education at HBCUs. And then he came to me, he sent me a message. He said, man, where are you at? And I told him at the time I was living at the Palisades at Southern, off Southern's campus, right over the hump. He said, man, I'm going to come by your place and have a conversation. He literally came by my place before he caught his flight back to Baltimore. He said, man, have you ever thought about writing or anything? I said, man, no. He said, seriously, I never thought about this space. I never thought about any of this. He said, man, what do you like? I said, man, I've been into sports for a long time. He said, how would you like to be a sports writer for me? Going back to what Kevin Hart's saying, opening door for somebody who you see the potential. You don't necessarily have to show up to my door with the resume with a long list of everything and accolades and experiences. You just got to see the potential. He saw the potential in me, and I had no clue how to sports write. I'm a good student when it comes to English and when it comes to schoolwork, but to write something to be published, I had never done before. I wrote my first article about the Atlanta Football Classic with Southern and FAMU playing in Atlanta, and it got published. I wrote another article after that with Southern and Jackson State playing in Southern for the first time in like 3 years, because, for 3 years they had played that game up in Jackson. The opportunity presented itself because of me putting out what I'm capable of doing, and he saw my potential. After that, I got with Stephen Gaither. At the time, HBCU Game Day was just getting started. Stephen and I literally were on our phones just doing a Swac weekly prediction about what was happening last week and this week. I moved on from that and ended up doing my own thing with my man Moto, Kendall Olders, Mr. Moto. He was a graduate of Southern and working for the local news. And I said, man, look, in my mind, I started out in sports writing, but people at this time, digital media was starting to take off, and I saw it on the white space, but we didn't have it quite on the black space. I said, man, I don't know anything about cameras, recording. Can you help me? Can you show me? He took me under his wing. Listen, I was recording funerals, weddings. I was at the club. I was recording concerts. He gave me an opportunity to get an eye for being behind the camera and learning what it's like to be a producer. Once again, it's going back to what Kevin Hart's saying. I just did not want to be in front of the camera. I wanted to learn everything surrounding the camera because I came from getting started in writing. Now I want to know how to produce. Now I want to sit down. I'm editing hours of footage that you'll never see just to make it something that you're willing to see. Then I'm having to learn and teach myself without any training. And I went to school for political science. My initial major was marine biology. So I was going to be a scientist. Then I switched over. What you looking like there for, Scotty? What?
Learn about dolphins. Go ahead. Anyway.
Hey, it's a world out there, brother, for real. And it's different than what you think, Marine. It goes into the everyday what you eat. Do you eat fish?
Yeah.
It goes into everything deeper than what you think because there's a science behind it that deals with research and a lot of research into things that you may not understand going to your everyday life. But I transitioned because Obama just had me thinking about politics. Black man, I want to be a goddamn leader. I want to be a leader. Then I realized I started working for the Louisiana Democratic Party. I started working for Karen Carter Peterson. I started working for Mary Landrieu. I started doing work with people that was on the political scene, Mitch Landrieu down in New Orleans. I started working with big political figures in the state of Louisiana and said, you know what? It's too dirty of a game for me. It's just a dirty game. So sports came into it, something I had already been in. But each one of those steps, I understood there was a process, and I didn't just want to be in front of the camera. I wanted to learn everything, which is why I'm here today. I can produce, I can edit, I can talk in front of a camera, but then this is the part that goes along with it. As I started to learn more and more and started to grasp the idea of digital media from my perspective and incorporating it into HBCU space, I realized the opportunities weren't quite there because what Kevin Hart said, everybody trying to be that one.
Everybody trying to be one.
And that's why my problem still to this day. Now, I said with Jashier Cox, who was at the Swac office. I thought Jashier and I was cool, and I had literally just came up with a concept called the Swac experience. I was going to games, covering them, giving you footage, interviewing fans, giving the band, something I had not seen, culminating all of those elements together. I did 2 videos, a Bayou Classic and a Swac Championship from 2013. In 2015, I see the Swac then begin to take the same very concept without the interviews, but the same concept, and took the name. I reached out to the office in terms of on Twitter, and it said, hey, instead of stealing my idea, why didn't y'all just bring me on board to willing to work? Because I'm a young man. I'm out here showing people I'm willing to work. They blocked me on everything. So as I began to move forward from that, I got into radio. Shout out to my man, Reggie Flood. He gave me the opportunity for the Jaguar Journal because I was working with my man, Ged Anderson, starting off on the yard. And I'm just giving a timeline showing what he's saying. Build your own and try to work with everybody. So when I got into radio, I knew nothing about radio. I came on as a guest 2 times, and he said, you know what, keep coming. And then I just learned radio just on the fly. Everything I've done, and I've learned it on the fly. But when I got into the radio space, Scotty, I started reaching out to everybody who I saw in the space and inviting them on the show with me to have conversations and to talk. Ask me how many times besides you did I get that same opportunity on their platforms to invite me. Now, I'm not saying talking crazy and cussing. When I do radio, I'm a whole different person.
Whole different.
Because I understand, and then I'm basically on a white station. I'm on 107.3 in the Baton Rouge area, which if you listen to it, it is a conservative white station, but I bring those viewers along with the black viewers into what I'm saying because of the way that I do it. But I always looked at it like, damn, I want to work with everybody. And I had that conversation with Flood. I said, man, I tried to work with this person, that person. I'm trying to show my versatility. I'm trying to really put myself in the space because I'm looking at it as let's all work together because I have an audience that may not know about, let's just say, I'm using this for example, that may not know about Zoe.
Yeah.
Zoe has an audience that may not know about Perry.
Let's bring it together.
Let's bring it together so my audience can then subscribe to you, your audience subscribe to me. Then we bring somebody else in the fold, and then we just keep the domino effect.
Yeah.
It's the same way like when I hear about the comedians, when they say, well, why the black comedians fighting each other when the white comedians keep helping each other build each other up?
Yeah.
They bring each other on each other's specials. They talking them up. So I looked at it in this space, and I realized in this space, man, it's a dog-eat-dog world. Everybody don't want to work with you. And Scotty, that was the beacon of bright light that I saw with you because I told you to this day when I first watched your show, Ladarius Skelton and our Southern game that week had been postponed because it was during the COVID spring game. And we were gonna watch the Alabama State and UAPB game. I'm flipping through YouTube. We couldn't find it, but then I saw your channel. Had never even heard of you, didn't know who you was, but you had a watch party for Alabama State and UAPB. The game went into like a lightning delay, a storm delay or something. Then you just went off, started talking about all type of stuff, and people started calling in. That's when I heard about you being called a bootlicker.
Mr. T. I think
you remember the bootlicker days?
Yeah. I got the shirt. I still got the shirt.
So Skelton, I was sitting, Skelton looked, he said, man, his exact words was, who the hell is this dude?
Yeah.
And you don't even realize he called into your show that day talking about how athletes, this was before NIL, how athletes struggle to just get the basic needs regardless if you superstar or not. But when I saw your show and I listened to you talking to people, I saw that you was an understanding dude with an open mind, and that's what made me reach out to you. And then when I reached out to you, I saw you was like, the sky's the limit. I'm in it, not for myself, but I'm in it to just win it, period. Yeah. And whoever winning with me, let's win together.
Yeah. So
that's what, and then a lot of people, just like many others, man, don't work with him. Don't do this, don't do that. And I made the conscious decision as an executive decision saying, I've been around since 2011. What the hell I got to lose? Because I've been around long enough. Nobody else has brought me into their space when I've opened the door to bring them into my space. So why not work with a brother who willing to open the door for me and bring me to space outside of Southern for other people around the Swac and black college football and sports to get to know me, and then for my people to get to know him. That is the thing at the end of the day that we have to do to work together, because that's how I found to meet Zoe. That's how I found to meet Mike. That's how I found to meet a lot of other guys, because of us coming together for this opportunity to talk about what we love. When I realized so many others, they'll talk about what they love, but they only want to be the only ones talking about it. And anybody else talking about it, they don't want you to talk about it with them because they feel like the light will shine too much on you instead of realizing the light on all of us.
I think for me, and you know, I just always looked at this space differently. Like, I know a lot of people say I have a lot of enemies, which I probably do, and I'm fine with. But I look at it as, you don't get the Mike Reeds, you don't get the Rockies, right? Like, without me. You know what I'm saying? It's because I saw something in those guys that I felt like I could work with. Rocky just called into the show. Rocky was just like caller into the show and was like, hey, da da da. And I called him, no Diddy. I was like, bro, you have a great voice. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, your voice sounds amazing. Like, I would like to do a show with you. And that's how me and Rocky connected. And now he has his coach's corner with him, Coach Cole, and using his connections to build what he wants to do. You see what I'm saying? And with Mike Reed, is like, I saw Mike Reed on Instagram and he was going crazy for Jackson State. And I was like, yo, that's amazing. But what's funny, and a lot of people don't know, I pitched the show to Ken Clark first. I called Ken up, and Mr. Campbell can vouch for me. I called Ken up and I asked him, I said, hey man, you got a platform, I got a platform. We're both, like, everybody knows we're at odds because of how I feel about Jackson State. I said, if we did a show, it would go bananas. And he was like, nah, that's not really my thing. You got bad blood, and that nobody, nah, I got to talk to people. I said, okay. Gave him a week. He never responded back. Dog. And like Zoe said, how God brings people in your life. I was literally just on Instagram Reels and I saw Mike. Yeah, Jackson, and just being Mike for Jackson. You know what I'm saying? And him being, and I DM'd him and said, hey man, my name's Scotty. I would love to do a show with you. And he was like, oh, Scotty, I watch. And now we have the breakdown together, right? So it everything happens for a reason, but it's the willingness to share. It's the willingness to give a light and a platform, because a lot of people will say, well, if you join Scotty, or if you go on Scotty's network, if you put your show on Scotty, Scotty's getting all the attention, and Scotty's that. But that's not how I view it. I look at it like this. Instead of you having to build your own YouTube channel, why not just have fun creating content? No, I can't pay you. No, I can't offer. I don't have the money to pay you. But just like I told Zoe, just like I told Mike, I've told Perry, whatever I told y'all, I said, listen, if any time this thing blows, I promise you I'm taking y'all with me. Because if it wasn't for the Outspokens, the Kofis, the Zoes, the Mike Reeds, the Rockies, I wouldn't have the wide range that I have. And I respect that. And that's going back to connecting the dots. And to me, that is what we're lacking in this area, in this community, is the connecting of dots. Because the community is so small, you can't navigate around people for too long because you're gonna bump shoulders.
Well, I think it's twofold. You're absolutely right. There's no connecting of dots, but my issue is far too many times when there's an attempt to connect dots, you're gonna have somebody who's gonna screw over the process because they're looking out for themselves. Because that's another problem, right? That's why I say it's a twofold thing. Absolutely right. You know what I'm saying? And basically what he was saying, you just need to diversify. You need to do multiple things, right? It's just like cash flow. If you only have money, is called currency, right? And if you only have one stream of cash flow, what happens if that currency get cuts off? You're going to go into a drought. You need different revenue streams.
Yeah.
And by doing that, you have to have your hand in different things. The problem, and when we talk about in the construct of, and we're going to say the example of HBCUs or Black America, the things is, are there some times where black folk get together and do business? Sure there are, but you don't see a large number of it happening, do you?
Thanks.
You know what I'm saying? So we can always give outliers to things, right? You know, I mean, hell, FUBU broke up. For us, by us. Hell, they broke up. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is, you're going to have certain instances, but the thing is, greed comes into play. And again, for whatever reason, and that's why I usually comment, I say it all the time, slavery did a number on black people, dog. Because at the end of the day, for some odd reason, as a whole, we just cannot work together. Why, I do not know. And the thing that really grind my gears is I just get pissed off about the lack of intentionality in doing so. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. And so that's why in all things that I try to do, I want to be a beacon of light in some shape, form, or fashion where I'm transparent and people can see me. When you see me like, oh, me and Scotty, we out here doing something. Again, first and goal. And man, y'all should hear these conversations when we have our meetings. And I'm telling y'all, it's gonna be something serious. And it's 4 different entities coming together. And you should hear the conversations that we have, the way we uplift each other, the way we look out for each other, the way that we encourage each other, just on these meetings that we have. And we have real live damn meetings. But outside of that, my thing is the intentionality as a whole with Black America to say, man, hey, let's get together. Hey, let's do this. You know, look, I'm gonna pull the curtain on y'all a little bit, right? I haven't really talked about this publicly, but I'm back in Jackson, Mississippi. Look, and before I got back here, when I was still in Atlanta, I was actually working on something here in the city of Jackson. And let me tell you, I call hell trying to get it done. I was actually in the process of, and I'll even put it out there, it's all good. I was actually in the process of trying to create a tiny home community in Jackson, going through different grant writers and things of that nature. And let me tell you, you know, the whole process of going through it, and I'm just dealing with people that look like me, and it's hell in the process to get it done. And so you would think when you have, I'm not going to say a young Black person, but any Black person, and it's like, hey, I'm trying to bring other Black folk in the fold, and let's get this thing done, right? Jackson's a Black city, it's in the blackest state in this country, and yet and still, you would think this city would be thriving in a better construct full of Black people doing Black shit. But you're not seeing that, right? And there's other parameters with that, but I'm saying we always say, what, guys? Control what you can control. There are things as a group of people that we can get together and we can do despite construct. And that speaks to what Kevin Hart was saying and what you guys were saying earlier. So the thing that pisses me off is the lack of intentionality in saying, man, let's get together and work together, but also diversify. And let's have our hands as a group to do this, as Perry stated, to do this thing, to do this thing. Yeah, I can do some things to myself, you know what I'm saying? But then also, man, hey, we went and did this together. We went and did this together. And I'm not worried about trying to get a leg up over Scotty and Perry when we're doing this. I'm the one that's calling the shot. We're not getting no clout. I'll make a little bit more money than y'all. We're equal partners, but we have our hand in different things. We're not seeing that, dog, and we're not being represented with that. So the problem that I have is the lack of intentionality with the group of Black people working together.
And I say I've been blessed to be able to work with a lot of great names, because growing up watching HBCU football in the days of NBC that was owned by Robert Towns, and watching Black college sports on BET, you know, I saw the guys like the Charlie Neals, the Mark Grays, right? And you would not believe how blessed I have been to be able to work with those guys, because these were the very guys that I watched that when I saw, I never thought I'd be able to have conversations nor be able to talk sports with these guys. Even Jay Walker been around a long time. I've had opportunities to work with Jay Walker and Tiffany Green. Those just to name the people that's in the space that we see at the highest level, because they've done it from the national television standpoint and more so what we're doing from the podcast. But most importantly, this is truly an honor to work with you, Zoe, to work with Scotty, and work with many others, because I've worked with the Dr. Cavilles, the Stephen Gaithers, I've yet to do anything with Josh on his show, but Josh is coming on my show. Anybody that in this space that you can name, most likely I've done something with them. That's the beauty of it with me. What the fuck, bro? I'm trying to be serious, and then you just make me just.
Cause you said I've done something with them. I'm sorry.
You a class clown, man. Get your head out. Jesus Christ.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I couldn't hold it. I was trying to hold it.
If it's one person that can throw me off, it's you.
I'm sorry.
But in all honesty, bro, I've literally had my name in the pot in conversations with everybody in the space. But then as I go around the space, I realize it ain't the same in return.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Everybody don't have that same notion like I have with just being energetic and excited just to have you to talk to me, to want to talk to you, to talk to everybody, to be able to talk about everything that we love. That's how we do this together. If we gonna be in this HB, see, that's what I'm saying, bro. Ain't no parties. Ain't no parties, man. God, dog, I can't. Did that sound like that, really? Did it sound like that? Did it come across like that? If it did, no diddy. But did it come across like that when I said it? Tell me, for real. Jesus Christ.
Hey, bro. All I'm gonna tell you is your ass about to be on that calendar.
Oh,
I ain't finna be on no damn calendar because I'm trying to talk truth to power here. But I can't help it because y'all just.
I'm sorry.
I didn't even know I said nothing. Normally I say
no,
no.
Man, you good, dog. You good, Pierre.
Oh, man.
You good, Pierre.
That was funny.
I didn't say like we all come together. I didn't say nothing crazy like that. If you want it to be that, I didn't say that. But I can get it if I said that. But the point is, man, I've literally tried to work with them. And then, like I said, I'm more than just talking on here. Man, you catch me on the game day, I do everything. I'm recording the damn band. I'm doing football. My whole mindset is, somebody once told me, it ain't who you work for their brand, it's who you are with your name is your brand. Everything that you bring to the table is your brand. I try to bring to when I come to the table, I can edit, I can produce, I can shoot, I can talk. I want you to know that I'm well-rounded, and when I get with other people, I find out what your strengths and weaknesses are. God damn, Scotty, let it out. What else did I say? Something else?
No, man, you good, dog.
What did I say? Did I say
you
something else?
Nothing. You ain't say nothing, bro. He still stuck back on the whole thing. You're good, bro. You ain't saying nothing.
That's silly nigga right there, boy. Look, I'm trying to be
good, bro.
But the idea is, what I don't know, I try to teach the others in the same process. That's how we work together. When I'm in the studio doing radio, I'm trying to learn the board. Hey, how this work? How that work? That way, then I can reach one, teach one. I can help you. You can help somebody else. We can all work together. Well, we're not just a one-trick pony. Scotty, what happened when you were here homecoming? You said something about that camera. What you said? It's too high. You know, it was too bright.
Yeah. Or you came right in and fixed that jugger. Yeah.
The whole idea, and at the end of the day, is all I'm saying is we got to help each other, teach each other, because when I told you I went to the Super Bowl this year, I looked around the room, and I say the room, I mean the dome, and this leading up to it, not the game itself, but the whole week I had been down in the Superdome for operations. When I looked around, I didn't see nobody look like us. I saw people looking white. That's the reality. And when I started having conversations with those white people, I swear to God, from the production to everything else, they were curious to wonder, why am I asking these questions? Because we get too caught up into who in front of the camera and not worry about everything else that leads up to how it even gets on the camera.
Fair.
I'm asking questions about operations. I'm asking questions about this and that. Everybody in there, by the time I was done, I was having conversations talking to big time people. And I wanted to know why nobody in there looked like us. You know, it's always one or two. 3 of them, that's too many. I mean, now y'all can come together and talk. Y'all can say too much. Y'all might turn, but 2, we can still, you just happy to be friends. But I was just curious, because if we work together, if we build together, this is the highest level of professionalism when you talk about sports, when you talk about operations, when you talk about network. Nor did I see anybody look like us in there to be able to talk that with, to help give me some game. I had to get game from some other folks.
Yeah.
But it's best for me to go get as much game as I can and then bring it back and give what we can. And what we say, we ain't got to reinvent the wheel. We just got to throw a hubcap or some rims on it.
Yeah.
The wheel is there. We just got to work together in order to do it. And we got to support each other. And what's your blessing may not be my blessing, but I can't help when God give you your blessing at the time that he do and count yours and then hate on your blessing. I think for far too many of us, we're watching and pocket watching and counting other people's blessings instead of just being happy that they blessed. And if we teach somebody and they make it, I'm happy that you blessed to have made it up, because guess what? Maybe, and I'm hoping just maybe you will come back and pull me up. But for far too many, when they do get up, they don't look back to pull nobody up.
Hell,
They just happy to have their title, to make their money, do their thing. And unfortunately, in our realm, ain't nobody trying to pull each other up except the little group that we do have. And for me, it's the young people. And you know, there's a difference between the youngsters and the elders.
Yeah, you're right.
There's gatekeeping being played here. And within that gatekeeping, because I had this conversation with Coach Kadar, Roger Kadar, Hall of Fame baseball coach, all the time about opening the door. And he said, you know what kept me coaching for so many decades? Changing with the young people, because the young people kept me going and knowledgeable of what was going on. And I never would shut them out. I learned and I brought them young people back. He was like, who you think my assistant coaches were? They were my former players who understood what I stood for, but I had to understand the new world in which they stand in and how I look at it. Old school I may have my values on how I be able to carry out things, but the way the world is changing, I can't put that on nobody else, because the world changes with the world changing. Situations are different.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'm saying all that to say, we just got to do better to work with each other in order to uplift each other and teach each other. Don't go to your grave with some knowledge and don't teach nobody else. Share that information. Too many times in our community, somebody goes to the grave with that knowledge and never shared that knowledge to the next generation for them to build off of it.
That's good, Pete. That's a great point. And listen, I have my wife and me, we talk about it all the time, is what God has for you is for you. There's no door that God has opened for you that man can close, and you have to be comfortable in understanding that. And it's another thing that he says in the interview, it's a little later down, but he says, don't chase the money.
The money will come.
The money will come. Don't chase the money. The money will come. And again, when you're in your purpose, when you're doing something that you love to do, and when people ask me about YouTube, I tell them all the time, YouTube is something I could have done for free. If I never got paid, I just love talking about sports. I just love talking about sports. When I wasn't getting paid with YouTube, I would still love to do this, right? And now that God has blessed it to be my full-time job, it's like I'm harder on myself, because I feel like, I'm not doing enough. Like that's me and Kate have these conversations all the time. I'm like, I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing enough shows. I'm not creative enough. So I'm always feel like I'm pushing myself. But you got to realize that when you're in your purpose and in your calling, there's nothing that anybody can do to shift you out of it but yourself. To take yourself out of it and take yourself out of the opportunities that God has put before you. And I'm not here to preach to you guys, but at the end of the day is this, and I'm gonna specifically get to
preach to us, man. Let it use you. Let it use you.
I'm gonna keep it. And somebody brought up Donald Ware, right? Somebody brought Donald Ware up, and let me say this: I'm a Maryland. I'm a DMV native. He's a DMV native, right? What I would say about people like Donald, and I don't know Donald personally, and there might be people on here that know Donald. I don't know Donald personally. All I will say is this: it is not easy reaching out to people that you feel are on a certain status. And if those people aren't really open about helping and giving back, you're kind of in an in-between space with that, right? Perfect example. Jim Trotter was at the coaches conference in Vegas. Yes, he's pro-black. Yes, he's pro, fighting the fighting institution and standing on what's right. But sometimes when you meet these people in person, they're dicks. I'm not saying Jim Trotter's a dick. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it could be like that, right? So it's people say, why don't you reach out to this person? Why don't you talk to this person? And a lot of them dudes can be assholes. Like
I've been there with you. I ended up at a black journalist banquet one time, and they was honoring this guy who had been working for CBS on the CBS Sports, right? I was like, oh man, the guy introduced. He said, man, I want to introduce you to Perry White, XYZ. Shook his hand, talking to him. You don't want to throw too much at him, but you get excited.
Yeah.
Hey man, can I get your name? Can I get your number? Sure. I follow up. So I began to send him work that I did. Hey, constructively criticize me. Tell me X, Y, Z.
Nothing.
Like I was a nobody. Maybe I am a nobody. That's fine. But it's like, you a black man on that level. I would love to work up to it. But I'm not asking you to put me on. I'm asking for constructive criticism. Maybe you see something in me that's a potential. Maybe you see something here. That's all I'm asking. But if you don't give me that in return, in terms of you're trying, it used to be something in our community where we saw when people was trying
That they want to, and I'll get a perfect example. Reggie Flood. Reggie was watching me in the background, reached out to me, brought me on the Jaguar Journal. You know what I'm saying? It was my first major radio HBCU. I was super excited. I was super geek, but he didn't have to do that for me, right? And he didn't have to give me his platform and allow me to shine in the small space that he did. And I always appreciate that, right? So for me, it's and me personally, when people, because I get messages on DMs all the time, and it's always young podcasters looking for an interview. I don't turn any of them down because I know what it was like when it was me on the other end reaching out to people and asking them to interview and this and do that and do that, and I would be left in that message request, and it's a dark place. It's a dark place of message request, right? But being left there and people not responding, and people who reach out to me and say, "Hey, Scotty, can you help me with this? Hey, Scotty, what equipment do you use? Hey, Scotty," I always, because I was that guy. I was that guy, and it feels like it was just yesterday I was that guy. That's how raw it is for me, because I know how bad I wanted to grow. I know how bad I wanted to put the work in. I know how bad I wanted my stuff to look a certain way and be great. So when people watch my stuff and they want to know what I use, I give them the whole playbook. Mr. Campbell had one of his cousins reach out to me and was like, "Man, Scott, I just want to know what you use." And I told him straight up, I use this. I use a MacBook Rodecaster Pro. I got my So same thing with you. You say, "Hey, Scotty, what you?" I got this. I got that. I use this. I don't really like this. It cam too much for me. I'm a StreamYard guy. Right? Because at the end of the day, I always say, you can't be me. You can't do what I do. You can't be me. You just got to be yourself. And I can't be nobody else. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day,
I may not come to you with a resume full of shit.
Yeah.
Right? With all of these experiences behind me. But if I'm showing you potential, if I'm showing you that I'm eager, we got to stick together to be able to harness in on that potential. How many times have we said, looking around this conference, when you watch schools stream their own sports, and you like, "Hey, that school got somebody with potential. That school," you're not going to have all of these big, but give me an opportunity, give me a shot, which is why I always go back to the SEC. Yes, I don't give a damn who say, "Well, it's big," or whatever. They have created a concept to realize providing opportunities for students, as when you at that university interning, when you get that opportunity, you're building your resume right there to make a name for yourself, for ultimately the big networks to come pick you up in everything. And what we got to realize, everybody not going to do this right here. There's only so many people going to be in front of the camera. For most of those network shows that y'all watch, you see the people in front of the camera. I promise you, you don't see the countless people that outnumber the people on the camera behind the camera.
And
I saw that in Super Bowl watching the Fox. You saw Terry Bradshaw and all the boys up there. It's it's 6 of them, 5 of them. It's 30 people behind the camera, working everything. We got to learn how to intune ourselves to uplift and teach the whole thing, and instead of just trying to teach the entertainment. Everybody can't be the entertainment. Everybody not going to be the football player, the basketball player, and everybody not going to be the personality, to talk in front of the camera. We got to work together, because guess what? How you build a network? How does a network begin? Somebody got to know every damn thing. Somebody got to know how the wiring works, the camera works. Somebody got to know XYZ. That's a network. The network ain't just a nigga in front of a camera cutting it on and off. It becomes too much for one person. Scotty, you know, just like me, you do your graphics. When we come on here, you don't even like, I'll be like, "Scotty, pull this up." You be like, "Damn now." But if we was on another, they got people that do that.
Yo, you always be doing some last minute shit that pissed me off. You like, "Hey, go get the schedule." I'm like, "God damn, I done did all these graphics. Now you want to go get the
look, to your point, Pierre, you just made it. Because look, even podcasting on these screens right here, guess what? When I go on eCam, that's what y'all don't know. I mean, like, to his point, You can have a producer here just doing a damn podcast.
Yeah.
You can have a producer, a cameraman, and everything else just doing this. Because guess what? We're all doing it encompassing. To Perry's point, everybody can't be on the screen, but guess what? You don't have to be. You can have a cameraman. You can have a producer. You can have multiple producers. Literally just podcasting. I mean, because it's a one-stop shop. You know what I'm saying? So again, but everybody can't be everything, and that's the beautiful thing of it, though. But you can be a jack of all trades. You can learn a little bit about everything. You know what I'm saying? That and again, that goes back to what Kevin Hart stated: diversifying yourself. You know what I'm saying? Knowing a little bit goes a long way to a lot of different things. It is only beneficial to you. But my point in all this is, even in doing so, my only issue is I need black folks to, man, work together. Even if you diversify yourself, stop trying to get a leg up on each other. At some point, man, we seem like I'm not going to say this for certain, but it feels like, to me, it feels like we're the only race in this entire planet that can't do it together. The only one. I ain't say we are. I said, but it damn sure feels that way.
Let me say this. This is the and I want to bring up what Jason said, right? Like, I want to shout out to Jason, right? Let me tell you how I work.
Boy.
Let me tell you how I work. And y'all just bear with me. I'm gonna give you a Perry soliloquy, so bear with me, right? So how I work is this, right? Jason reached out to me. He was like, Jason reached out to me. He's like, hey, Scotty, I need some information on YouTube and stuff like that. I said, cool. He said, how much do you cost? I say, I barter. I'm a barterer. I barterer, right? Like, I don't believe in everything is always a cash payment, because I feel like there's knowledge that Jason knows that he can give me the game that shortens the curve of me to learn. Because I would like to be a public speaker. I would like to be a motivational speaker. My friends tell me all the time, they're like, Scotty, man, like, it's not so many YouTubers. You know, you could go to elementary school and high school kids and just kind of motivational speaking. Like, they would love it, you know what? Anyway, right? So he's a motivational speaker. I would like to be a motivational speaker. I don't need your $100 an hour for the consultation. Just give me the game of motivational speaking. How do I get in that lane? How do I do this? And I will happily trade information with you. I think it's too many times that people who are experts in their field do not want to share information and just barter. Everybody wants to get paid. And sometimes just the information that you have in your head. Shout out to Mr. Sargent. I was confused about some business tax stuff, and I called him up, and he really broke it down to me. He said, hey, Scott, I personal finance, that's what I do, right? He's a subscriber, but he didn't ask anything from me, and I was just having the conversation. Again, shout out to a guy that reached out to us on First and Goal. His industry is motion graphics. He said, man, it's too many times I've been working for white people. I would rather help y'all out and get you guys up and running with some high-level graphics. I just want to work with y'all, right? That is what community looks like. It's where, hey, I'm comfortable where I'm at. I want to help these brothers out. I'm comfortable doing what I do. Or I have a network of people that I believe that can help these young brothers out. And it's too many times that HBCUs do not tap into that network, and B, people in that network do not reach out to the people that they're watching every single day to say, I think I know one or two people that can help you. That's how I know Mr. Campbell. Mr. Campbell is like 6 degrees of separation from somebody that might help me out, right? It's little things like that I feel like when people are in the chat and people are watching me and people are looking at me as like, oh, Scotty, you know, I don't have the money. 9 times out of 10, I don't need your money.
And you know what's gonna, you know what, to your point, but to your point in your example, I gotta say this. When he gave that example, you're not giving that example to say, I need all your knowledge and everything that you got to give it to me for free that you work for. Basically, what it's saying is throw somebody a lifeline to assist you along the way. That's all that it is. I'm giving you a lifeline to assist you. You know what I'm saying? In that example, because it's like, okay, I can give you this. No, nobody's trying to get all your knowledge and get everything that you've garnered over years or that you work hard for to basically reap all the benefits that you got and you work for free, for nothing, for no tangible thing. Even in bartering, the thing is that throw somebody a lifeline. Hey, bro, I see you doing your thing. I can assist you along the way. That's bringing the line back down to pull you up, to assist you. It's just like basically all it is, man, being in the Starbucks line. You know what? I bought me a cup of coffee. Man, who behind me? Hey, man, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to throw you $2 and I got the next drink covered. It's all it is, but you're doing it in real life.
Yeah.
That's all that it is.
And that, to me, that is what community looks like, especially in the HBCU world, because it's too many times that I meet some high level people. I'm talking about people at jobs that you're like, and you don't think you can assist? Like, like, it's just like, yeah, man, I work for Fox Sports, and man, I love watching your stuff. And you're like, okay, that's great. You don't have an agent that you can connect me with. You don't have a talent
You
person.
remember when Drewski said that? It was on Constant Not Stream, and Kevin Hart was talking to him, and he was like, man, yeah, I think y'all can have a future in acting. And Drewski was like, well, help us, nigga. Like, you the one in the acting realm. Like,
you making movies.
You talking about what you think we can do, you can make it happen.
Yeah.
And then when you do meet these people and you reach out to them, whether you get a short response and not the response you're looking for, or no response, and sometimes you don't want to feel like you're begging or you're going too far. That's when I just draw the line like, hey, you see I'm willing, I'm trying, I reached out to you, I followed up. And I guess that's the tough pill to swallow, to feel like, am I begging? Like, am I kissing? Like, am I ripping and running behind you to get something that you don't seem like you willing to give when it comes to the knowledge, the opportunity, or the information? And I've fallen into that spot a few times where I've met people and I've reached out to them and I didn't quite get the response or response back altogether. Then it's like, everybody keep a phone in their hand 24/7. I know you saw my damn message, but you just didn't want to respond. But my message to you was one of wanting to learn, wanting to gain opportunity, willing to put in the work. I'm not asking you, hey, can you give me $200? I'm asking, what can I do to work to get $200?
Yeah.
It may take me a year to get the $200. I'm willing to put in the work. Can I work? And that's how I tell everybody. Perry White about the work. And whatever the work is, I trust the process the same way how I'm here today. I started as a sports writer. Then I had to carry a camera, recording a funeral, wedding, concerts, whatever the case, whatever it took, I was willing to learn in order to get to that point. Then I want to take it to another level. Then I want to work. It's always something out there to learn, to get better. I just take everything that I've done in life, whether it was working the jobs I worked or whether doing my own thing, in order to take it to the next level for the next phase that somebody else can teach me on how to keep elevating. And then guess what? I went to the LSU baseball game. I'm on the elevator. The black kid, LSU student working the elevator, saw my pass and said, man, you work in media? I said, I do. Man, how can I get into that world? I gave him my information. That kid texted me that night with his major, his name, where he was from, with his GPA. He told me everything and was like, I'm willing to get in the world. I said, well, what you want to do? He said, I want to be a sports analyst. I said, are you willing to put in the work? You may have to start out as a photographer. You may have to take pictures just to get a feel to be around. Then you may have to be a producer. You may have to edit. That kid said, I'm willing to put in the work. You know what I did? I got that kid working with me with the things that I'm doing. You know what he did? What he don't realize he did for me? He opened up a whole new realm at LSU for me because he is a student there. He gives me ears and boots on the ground for stuff that I cannot see in rooms that I may not be able to get into, that he's able to do. But then he comes back and that's how we work together. Although I may be able to provide an opportunity at the same time, he don't know how much of an opportunity he provided me.
Yeah.
That's how it works. He may not be on the same level where I'm at to get the press pass, but nonetheless, at the end of the day, he still offers something that we can work together to make it work together. That's what I'm saying. Whether you at the top or you not, it still makes sense to work together, whether somebody has your accolades, your title, or your experience or not.
Absolutely. Let's move on, fellas. We went a little long on that segment. We will have to cut this last one. Little down just a little bit, but I want everybody to give their opinions and thoughts on this one. Listen, we all understand, and Barry, you did an amazing show on Saturday, having the insider, the lead investigator come on your platform and talk about what happened at Caleb Wilson at Southern University. Now, I want to pivot this discussion. And me and Perry touched on it a little bit over the weekend when we were talking to each other. Could Omega Psi Phi go broke? Is this a possibility? And I will give you a couple factors and lay it out. And I want to get your opinions, right? So, should the Omega Psi Phi be held responsible, and as a whole, as an entity, the whole organization, not the chapter, but the whole entity? And these are the reasons why. right? Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, historically African American fraternity founded in 1911, operates as a nonprofit organization. As of the latest available data, the fraternity reported net assets totaling approximately $8.6 million. Now, there has been a wrongful death suit in Louisiana, right? And the biggest one is $250 million. I didn't want to go that high, but I'm just going to give you a case. Alton Sterling case. Alton Sterling, a 37-year-old black man, was fatally shot by Baton Rouge police officers in 2016. In 2021, the East Baton Rouge Metro Council approved a $4.5 million settlement for Sterling's family to resolve the wrongful death lawsuit in the state of Louisiana. Now, I just wanted to give an example of what our judgment could look like if the family of Wilson goes after the Omega Psi Phi organization in total, the overarching one. But fellas, do you think it's a possibility, and do you think the whole organization should be held responsible for what had occurred? And Perry, I would like for you to go first. You dove deep into the Southern aspect of this.
In all honesty, yes. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just like any job. You get hurt on that job at that particular location. Let's say you get the coffee too hot. A woman sued McDonald's because the coffee was too damn hot and scarred her mouth. She was at that particular location, which in this situation will be that particular chapter, but it's the overall umbrella. It's McDonald's. In this case, it's Omega Psi Phi. Unfortunately, one bad apple did spoil the bunch, and a few bad apples in this case spoiled the bunch for a lot of them. I believe they should be held responsible, because when you hold responsible the entire organization, what this then does, it makes them look at everybody at every chapter, at every location, and say, we shall not and we cannot ever have this happen again. Because the quiet thing to this is, unfortunately, a death occurred in this with Caleb Wilson. But do you know the countless stories across the country, and not just Omega Psi Phi, but period, of people having physical injuries from hazing and whatever else that lasts a lifetime? But you know what happens? When it happens in that area, that region, because there was no death, you will get a local story, you will get some people to talk about it, and then they'll handle it within that area, and then you won't never hear it about from the national level, national news. You told me you was in Atlanta, you heard this.
Yeah.
My grandmother's in Chicago, she heard this. People all over the country heard this. This is national news. When this makes national news, somebody has to be accountable, because we got to ensure this never happens again nationally, period, point blank. And you got to hit the hammer hard to make sure that everybody understands. No telling how many times we've been on the brink of this, but somebody just made it through just enough. We've been on the brink of this, but now that it has happened, we could never have this happen again, because this is a bad look for all parties involved. And most importantly, unfortunately, it's a bad look for Omega Psi Phi, and I got a lot of love for the bros. It's a lot of my partners that's Qs, man. I'm talking about people that I love near to me. So I don't have a problem with the organization. I just have an issue with how things are handled, and sometimes things can get out of hand. Don't mean it comes from the ones that I know. It's just certain people. Some bad apples spoil it for everybody. So everybody needs to be held responsible, so we can get a grasp and a hold on this and realize there's a severity to this. A young man lost his life, taken from his family, all in the name of wanting to be a part of the brotherhood. Never shall we have this happen again. And they made a movie off this. What was it called? Burning Sands. Y'all ever saw the movie?
Nope.
Please watch it. It almost entails exactly from what we know right now to what happened in this situation. Well, we got to get a hold on, there's limits to things. What's too far? And at some point, too far is different from other people. Limits are different. But at some point, we got to get a grasp. And what I've been seeing from the vast majority of people is, let's stop this in 2025 moving forward, so we no longer fall into this situation of having to deal with this again. So I would say, yes, the organization as a whole should be held responsible. That's the only way you're going to get a ring, though. It's like when the mama say, who messed up? Everybody getting their ass whooping. That's just what that has to happen right here. Everybody got to get an ass whooping.
I'm gonna say unequivocally yes, and I'll even get to other reasons as to why. Look, let me go on record now and state that. Look, I like so many other Black people have plenty of family members and brethren that are Omega Psi Phi. We could separate our love for them in an incident, and if they can't, then that speaks to a bigger problem as well. I'm gonna say this: every Greek letter organization in this country, HBCU or not, every Greek letter organization, when they take an intake process in, all of them sign documentation in regards to not hazing the pledgees and the people doing the pledges. That's a fact. So under that merit alone, and I disagree, it doesn't matter if it's a national event. It could be minor. The fact once this known and lawyers are involved, it doesn't have to be a national story. It just add fuel to the fire to get more stuff happening. But the fact that we're talking about loss of life, and the fact, another example, like the fact that Perry can even bring up a movie and the movie is describing it to a T, that speaks to another problem because of the movie. When did the movie come out, Perry?
Right in the 90s.
I think in the 2000. Matter of fact, who's the guy that played Superfly in the new movie?
Oh, the light skinned Bama.
Matter of fact, man, you can
Trevor
pull it
Jackson.
up if you want.
Trevor Jackson.
They got a trailer. Come on, Scotty. I mean, but in all honesty, there's a trailer to it that's not long at all that'll give people an idea. So really short, but it hits home because if you watch the movie itself, it's like, damn, where it literally went this way, like
So to my point, right? So you have a movie that predates this years, right? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's to what just happened to a T. And so that right there is another thing that's incriminating for this. So again, the problem that I have is, so many people are, they're in the Greek letter organizations, various ones are, coming to defense because they feel like their family is being under attack. And again, you can separate what you're a part of to this incident because again, I'm sorry, we're talking about loss of life. And you wouldn't be having that same energy if it was your son, if it was your brother, if it was your cousin. You know what I'm saying? So miss me with that. We're talking about loss of life. And man, look, my sisters, and I'm not my sister, my brother-in-law, like all of us, man. We all got family, parents, children, otherwise, right? That's in these Greek letter organizations. And again, they have their things, and so be it. And I'm not here to bash on them because at one point I wanted to be a part of something, but I couldn't because guess what? They weren't on in the yard. You know why? Because of hazing. You see what I'm saying? So it's always this thing. But to answer your question, yes, they should be held responsible. Yes, they should get sued to the point where they gotta pay the shit on layaway. Seriously. And whatever else that needs to happen. Because again, this is not the first time that this has happened. You had some women that played AKA a few years ago in California. 2 of them got drowned, you know what I'm saying, in a hazy incident. And so my thing is, when's enough? Because the one thing that kills me is we talk about brotherhood. I'm not going to go down this whole rabbit hole, but how in the hell can in one voice you talk about brotherhood and then you cause a harm to your brother on purpose to be a part of something? It's sacrilegious. I mean, and it's crazy. It's crazy. It's ludicrous. And I'm not bashing them because again, like I said, I myself wanted to, but hell, I couldn't because they weren't there. But all I'm saying is, man, this dude lost his life trying to be a part of something that he wanted to be a part of something, and the people that who's supposed to be intaking him in took him out of here. Like, do y'all understand how that sounds?
Yeah.
We talk about Black people working together. Oh shit. We're talking about Black people coming together, diversifying, working together. Well, damn, I'm coming to y'all because this is a group that I want to be a part of that could benefit me in some shape, form, or fashion. And y'all gonna kill me? You're gonna kill me. Like, how do you even bounce back from that?
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I think even if they're suspended, let's say they come back in 5 years. Do you know the feeling I would have to say, man, I'm thinking about pledging Q at Southern's campus? Like, do you know the kind of anxiety I would have to even think of doing that, bro?
Yeah.
Knowing that y'all kill somebody? Because guess what? You're going to preach the same thing you was preaching to get them to come online. How you going to preach brotherhood to me and you taking people out? Seriously. So hell yeah, they should be held responsible. Like, how was that even a question? And I'm sorry if you got old heads that, got a problem with it. Man, miss me on that. I promise you, if that was my son, and we all got kids, if that was my son,
Oh,
Man, hell and high water coming.
I'm taking. Listen, that shit would be Scottay Phi Scotty. Like I'm that's how much I would try to come for their ass. And this is my issue, right? The reason that I feel that the Wilson family should take this as far as they can is because I don't think people in there's people in the chat saying it's going to continue. They're just what it do. And it's like, what about this should take all of that? That I don't understand it. And maybe it's something I will never understand. But to me, it just doesn't make any sense to me. I feel like and you can say white fraternities. I don't give two shits what you're talking about. I don't give a fuck. Right? Because we're not talking about them right now. And the white people, they need to get their shut that shit down too. My thing is, I feel like there has to be an example set that scares all other organizations to say, if this can happen to them, it can happen to us. And we can no longer take the, oh, nobody's going to find out. Oh, we can get away with an approach where, to me, I'm like, bro, just set.
Got to make an example out of them.
You got to set the standard so high that it's hard to become a Q. Set the standard so high that it's hard to become an AKA. Set the standard so high that it's hard to become a Delta. You don't have to haze to do that. Just put standards in place that are just like, damn, that shit's tough. You got to do 2,000 community service hours, and you gotta have a certain GPA, and you gotta help so many homeless kids, and you gotta feed so, like, bro, just make it that difficult to where you're like, that shit's I'm not doing all that shit to be an AKA. It doesn't have to include hazing though. And Perry said something on the phone. He said this organization is a representation of men being upstanding men in the community. In the intake, make them be upstanding men in the community. Does that have to do with punching Bamas in the chest and hitting Bamas with paddles and getting branded like a horse? Like, what is all that? Come on, man. It doesn't make any sense. So to me, if I'm the Wilson family, I'm taking the cues for everything they got because you took everything from me. I don't give a damn who's pledged it. I don't give a damn if Shaq, Steve Hart. I don't give two shits of who's a part of it. You took everything from me. I'm taking everything from you. Flat out. And again, if you want to sit here in the chat and talk about it's going to continue and all this, then you don't have the feeling that it's your child. Because if it was your child, the one that you raised, the one that you sent to Southern, because his dad's a Southern alum, which to me, that would burn me up even more. I sent my son to Southern just like me, and this is what ended up happening to him because he wanted to be a Q. And man, I'm like, I don't get it. I do not understand it. Maybe I will never understand it. But again, the hazing, and it doesn't even have to come to death. It's just, you're telling me to be a part of some letters, to be a part of a color, to be able to throw a hook up. I gotta get physically abused.
Or mentally abused. It ain't just physical.
To be a part of this, the Army doesn't even do that to you, and you're signing yourself up the military doesn't even do this to you, and you're signing yourself away to possibly kill your own self going to war. You're acting like gangs, legit gangs, Crips, Bloods, Hoovers, MS-13, to where you got to get jumped in to be a part of something when you're supposed to be a representation of upstanding individuals to do better in the community, but you're acting just like the people you're trying to separate yourself from. Listen, that again.
So watch this. And so being his dad's a Q, right? He ain't thinking about this. So should his dad have some sort of understanding? Because his dad's an old head, probably players, a long time ago back in the day, right? So should his dad have some understanding?
No.
You see what I'm saying? Like, that's ludicrous.
No. Never understanding when somebody is killed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
This is beyond letters. And even for the cues out there that I have seen people try to defend their Greek organization behind this, saying y'all ain't gonna come at us, you ain't gonna do this and this.
Tone deaf.
Take the letters away from this and just look at the person, a black man. The very we talk about uplifting our black males, building black males to be better leaders in our communities and to be community leaders and to be good citizens and teachers and leaders of men. Forget them letters. For once, put them letters aside, no matter even what you went through. Forget the letters and let's realize what happened here was a horrible tragedy. And not only the tragedy, Scotty, it ain't about the fact that just simply what happened. It's about what ensued after what happened.
Mm-hmm.
There was a whole cover-up that was finna go, and these guys were willing to cover it up and go to their death, to their grave with this lie. It had it passed. Had this lie stuck, they was willing to let this boy be buried with that his family bury him, thinking that was the lie. That the whole story was that they said he got hit in the chest while playing basketball at a rec park. They was willing to tell that and let it stick and had it stuck. They was willing to continue to move on with everybody in that room knowing the truth, and they was just going to take it to the grave with them.
And you know what? And they were preaching brotherhood in the process of doing it. So your brotherhood gonna sit there and lie on you and cover your own death up. I want you to think about that now. They were preaching brotherhood and all the other kind of stuff when they had the first little intake thing and all this kind of stuff. They preaching brotherhood, loyalty, and all this other kind of stuff. You sit there and they die, and they're gonna cover up your damn death to cover their ass. That's brotherhood.
That's where
oxymoronic, right?
That's where I drew the line. I'm cool with just coming clean, taking it across the chin. We fucked up. We did. Look, we fucked up. We was hazing. The knowledge, the truthful thing is, hey, this is just, we hate. We didn't try to take it this far, regardless of the fact you're going to get the hammer, but be a man and upstanding and stand up to some shit that you did. Tell the truth. You ain't on the street, killed the nigga, robbed the nigga, then trying to go do something, then don't say nothing, and the whole community quiet. You were a part of something that went beyond an individual. And that's what they got to realize in this. Them letters go beyond an individual. That's why you asking, should everybody?
Exactly.
It goes beyond just the name of the individuals that they're associating with. It's these letters and that organization as a whole that's now tied to this, because everybody is saying on the national scale, when you hear this story, members of Omega Psi Phi fraternity.
Thank you.
They're not saying the chapter's name. They're not saying the individual's name by itself, because guess what? When you watch the news and there's a murder, they say the name of the person who murdered them and the person who got murdered, and they don't have no affiliates. If there is affiliate, they say, oh, this was gang related, right? There was some backstory, but this went to where this came down to an individual. That individual lied to save his ass and didn't think about the organization as a whole. So when he lied, or whoever in that room lied to save their own ass, they jeopardized the organization. That's why the organization has to be responsible, because unfortunately, one bad apple or a couple bad apples spoiled the bunch for the rest of them. They made it about them, and I take it in consideration if you don't make it about you and say, we messed up on behalf of what we were trying to do for these letters. But you lied on the letters and on this young man, and you brought what happens in the dark. Because see, the thing about this is a lot of times things happen in the dark and it's never brought to the light for us to see. It's brought before a small group of people to know. But you brought this from the dark into my light. So now that I get to see it, because it's shining bright on everything that I see, you're going to tell me I don't have an opinion to speak on it? You're going to tell me I shouldn't say anything because I've never been in a Greek organization, nor am I a part of this organization? No, that gives me every right to speak on it, because clearly practices that you guys are instilling, because guess what? Although this bad bunch did this, trust me, somewhere across the country, it has been to the brink of this before. You cannot tell me it has not been to the brink of this before. They just got lucky as hell and got out the situation because somebody did shake back.
Yeah.
But in this situation, he did not shake back. And then you fucking lied. That's just the part that just, Scotty, it make me want to put hands because you got a kid, Zoe, you got a kid. Most people, if somebody lied and you willing to take that lie, and that's just like your friend, your kids hanging with their best friend in a situation where they die, and then you expect for the best friend to tell, give me the information. But the best friend covering it up. It made me want to go choke the fuck out the best friend. I thought you was better than you was considered a friend, just like these were considered future brothers.
Yeah.
Somebody he was willing to shake their hand at homecoming, hug up and grip up, introduce you to my family in the future. Hey, be at the conclave, be at whatever events to call you my brother. And yet this is what you was gonna do to me. This is what you did to me. That's just where my frustration come out. Honestly, I can take that all day, every day, and it's still a loss. I'm like, damn, that shouldn't have happened. They were truthful. They came. That's a real man. But to lie, to cover it up, that ain't no real man. That ain't no real brother. And that makes it hard for all of them. So that just got me. It got me. And then, I'm around Southern. I'm around the band. I've seen this young man. And that's where it hit home for me. Because it's just like, this was a good dude, man.
Yeah.
This Caleb Wilson was a good dude, man. A good dude. And you see the hurt. It's been a week later because of this lie, because they fucking lied. A week later, his parents still have not put him to rest because they have to do autopsy now, try to figure out to come together with what this goddamn lie is. So it has stopped the family in terms of the grieving process to be able to lay their loved one because of the lie has prolonged everything. Because now we got to get to the bottom of what happened and what really caused it. Because I gave you an opportunity to tell the truth and your ass lied. And Scotty, they left this boy at the hospital by himself. Nobody even stood to even sit in that room, to even be with him, to even wait till a parent is called family. Nobody waited. They left him.
His brothers.
So frustration, you want to hear my frustration? I don't care who you are out there. That's why I'm frustrated, because you would not want that to happen to you, a loved one that you know, or anybody.
Yes, sir.
I don't give a fuck if you at the 7-Eleven, if you at the grocery store. When you see somebody fall on the floor, that's an instant emergency that considers the need urgency. You call 911. Hey, we need to get some help. You don't sit around and just watch. You call not instantly. I don't give a fuck where you at. And excuse my language, but it don't matter where you at. The moment somebody falls out and you can tell it's an emergency, medical issues, you in that moment get them help. Period, point blank. It consists of urgency. Yeah, they young, whatever the case may be, but they were playing a grown-ass game here. And unfortunately, and I hate to put this in a bigger perspective, but for our black males, we play this grown game all too much and not realize what the consequences is even in our everyday community with black males killing black males.
Yeah.
And for your ass just to end up caught. You don't get away with it. What you saw, the dudes that killed the man, the rapper, and his daughter in Dallas, you did all that just to get caught. They got your face, you caught. Yep. He dead, his daughter dead, you in jail.
Let me. So you got something to say real quick?
Shit.
No, let prayer go.
Let me
let
me ask you this, guys, real quick. People are asking to call in. Are you guys open to callers? Or you're okay?
Go ahead.
I'm always for the people. I'm always for the people. I'm sorry, y'all. I get pat, man, because damn, bro. And you don't know tragedy until it's striking your own backyard. Like you see a plane crash, you don't think nothing until your loved one on that plane.
Yes, sir.
That's the situation. You don't understand the severity of a tragedy until it happens to somebody that you know, and it hit home, then it hit a little different. Then that compassion, that love, that everything that comes out just hits a little bit different compared to seeing it and watching it from afar. This one hit a little bit different. Because I traveled with the band with this young man to Los Angeles, to the Super Bowl. I've seen this young man all around. This just hit different. And to watch his parents grieve the way that they grieve and knowing that these niggas was willing to lie and take that lie to the grave, that just, you take the call. That just, that did something to me, man. That really did. And it took some time for me to kind of like internalize that, because guess what? We were waiting on information. Well, we got the information, and the information was sickening to my stomach, to my core. And it's just sickening anybody, because you should never want that to happen to anybody that you know, or anybody that you love, or anybody, period. So I'm sorry, Scotty. Go ahead.
You're fine. You're fine. Listen, guys, I'm gonna take some callers. It's late, okay, on my side. You know what I'm saying? It's 9 for them. It's late on my side. So I'm gonna need you guys to be concise, no rambling. Make your points. You know, do your thing, and we'll answer or address your statement. I'm not gonna go back and forth with nobody. I'm gonna just let people say their piece. All right. So
there is one other participant in the conference. All participants are muted.
Call lines are open, 518-263-8124, 518-263-8124. All right, Mr. Porter, you live.
Evening, gentlemen. I was a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. God spoke to me, and so I stepped away. I will say this: anybody who has an issue with the hammer being dropped has no care or concern for us as a people. I'm not apologizing. Not only with fraternities, but with sororities. The dishonor, the disrespect is vestiges of slavery and before, since we want to talk about Greek and how persons used to have blood beaten like the Spartans did for Athena and things like that. It is strictly unconscionable. And it is from a place of people are so desperate to accept or be a member of an organization that there's not anything they're not willing to do. And as far as I'm concerned, if you have any sort of compassion, if you have any sort of care and concern, if you say that you love your people, this crap cannot happen. And anybody who is trying to make any excuse from that, as far as I'm concerned, you are just as complicit, because you have the exact same spirit as those people who will cover it up. There is no excuse for that. You don't have to beat the hell out of somebody to prove that they have character.
That's good.
That is not what you do. Character is exemplified by your actions. And the fact that this has been going on since its inception is a problem. And so I completely agree with y'all. I don't want to hear no excuse from nobody, because if I ain't got no kids, if that's my kid, y'all niggas gonna see me. I'm just being honest. You lucky if I don't crash out, because if the law don't get you, I'm gonna be around. And so somebody is dead. Miss me with all of that other stuff. Miss me with all of the old hair. I don't care about none of that. Somebody died because you wanted to beat the hell out of somebody just so they could get some letters, and y'all niggas left them to die. And people literally who knew this crap was going on covers it up. I have seen it, man. I've seen it. I know you said don't ramble, but I've seen it. I've literally seen girls who were in sororities who were told you got to have sex with these people just to be a member. I've seen people who've been told you got to have cocaine and this, that, and the other just to be a bit. I've seen this crap. I've talked to these people. I see people who are walking with limps because they were beaten so bad their knees are effed up. I see people who got messed up discs right now in their back. I've seen this crap, and we want to make excuses. And we want to talk about pillars of the community for what? We beat the hell out of each other, but then we hold up cameras while cops are beating the hell out of us. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear no speeches. I don't want to hear no marches. I don't want to see not nan nigga who wearing some suit and tie, wearing some letters or nothing like that. If they ain't crashing out on their own, shut the hell up. I ain't trying to hear that. And if anybody got a problem, they can see me. I'm in Augusta today. I'm not going to tolerate nobody saying, oh, this is bad. No, this cannot happen. This is vestiges of us trying to maintain an identity when we were from the diaspora of Africa, and the standard was quote unquote white people. And from that, we used what we had because we lost so much of our history. So the only thing we had was the information in the books that were available in white America. And as of that, we decided to try to find something. And from that, then we decided to be strong while they were actively lynching us. Because remember, 1911, there was no problem lynching Negroes. So then they were like, we got to make sure they're tough because you got to fight. Well, guess what? Those times are over. You ain't got to sit here and do that. There is a more excellent way, and beating each other is not necessary. It is not necessary. And I don't want to hear nobody saying that I don't need to expose this, that, and the other. It is satanic. I said it, and I stand on that. You want to talk about God? God is a God of order. God is not an author of confusion. God say, I came that you would have life and life more abundantly. Ain't nothing life about this. The devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy, and he is the father of all lies. What did these Negroes do? They stole this man's future. They stole a child. They stole a future husband. They stole that, and they killed him, and they destroyed so much. And we gonna sit up here, and we gonna hide it? We cannot make excuses. I don't want to hear nobody get on here and try to say anything else talking about we got to take this into account. We cannot. You are a child of God before anything else. You are a black man and woman before anything else. If anything says I must dehumanize myself, it is garbage. I said it. God doesn't ask you to do that, so why should anything else force you? It's different joining the military because it's a matter of being a unified individual because you have to operate as a unit. This ain't that. And I refuse to retract any statement. I rest my case.
Thank you for the call, Mr. Porter. Man, that was powerful. Let me say this, man, because my thing is this when it comes to fraternities and sororities, like, how would the founders feel? Right? Like, we're doing this to protect ourselves against another race, or we're coming together to be together so we can protect our own and have these. But now it's to where it's like we're beating up our own and we're leaving our own bandaged and broken, and you got to go through all this humiliation and all that. But it's like the humiliation was in the 30s, was in the 40s, was in the 50s when we had to, play possum to even get a little bit of stuff. But now we're able to control a lot of what happens to ourselves, and we're just doing it to ourselves. And we think it's necessary to say I'm part of an organization that has the expectation of hazing. I'm going into an organization that is supposed to be upstanding with the knowledge that I'm going to be hazed, mentally abused, physically abused, so I can put on colors and throw some hooks up. That's crazy to me. Let me take some more callers. 4158, then Fam UKJ coming to you. Hey, caller, you live.
Scotty, what's going on, man? It's Nick.
What's up? Hey, what's up, Nick?
What's up, Nick?
What's up, Zoe? What's up, Perry? What's going on, fellas?
What's good?
All right, so I'm gonna say this, and you just touched on this a second ago. This is not what the founders envisioned. Want to know why? Because they were going through enough hell being black men and black women in the early 1900s. So there was no reason to put anybody else through any additional hell. And here we are now. You had an opportunity when the pandemic hit because you could not have in-person lines. People were going through and they were doing their processes online. They were on Zoom. And what happened? You had a whole bunch of old head niggas coming back talking about, oh, that ain't real. That ain't real. That ain't real. That's BS, man. Because at the end of it, I know a whole bunch of cats who got their ass whipped for their frat and don't do anything. Nothing in the community, nothing in the frat, nothing, period. I know some cats who did not get whipped, and they're some of the most productive citizens. They're active within the fraternities. They're leaders within the fraternities. It's got to change. I said this on my show last week. If you had asked me 20 years ago when I was pledging, I'd probably give you a different answer. Does that make me a hypocrite now? Maybe, but I'll eat that. But the damn process has got to change. It has to change. Do I believe in a process of bringing people together? Sure, but I do not believe in hazing. That does not define you as a brother or a sister. There's no way around it. There's nothing measurable that says because you got your ass whooped online that you are going to be a great brother of this fraternity or a great sister of this sorority. It's got to change, because all it's done is just sully. Every time somebody comes and they talk about, oh, the work we do in the community, which they do. The Divine Nine does amazing things to the community, but you sully it every time something like this happens. Because no amount of community service, no amount of scholarship, none of that is worth that young man's life or a young woman's life or anything like that. I'm a father. I got a kid in college right now. I got 5 nieces in college right now. You know what? They all are looking at sororities like, And I can tell you right now, I've never put my hands on a woman, but let one of them come up like that. It's going to be a whole nother nick. All them jokes, you can forget about them jokes and that goddamn calendar. It's a whole nother nick they're going to need. You got to change the process. And I'll go even further. It's got to be out of the Divine Nine. It's got to be out of the music Greeks. It's got to be out of the business Greeks. It's got to be out of the damn band. It's a running joke at HBCUs, and we don't have to talk about PWIs right now because that ain't what I'm dealing with. It's a running joke that you play damn near everything at an HBCU. When you got some HBCUs where orientation leaders are having lines, what kind of shit is that? It's trauma porn, bro. And all we're doing is perpetuating this trauma as if we didn't have enough hell that we got going on right now being Black in America. And that's all I got to say about it. And I know there's the last brother that came on, I don't agree with everything he said. But I recognize that right now, folks got to get their shit off. And for anybody who wears letters across their chest, y'all need to hear every bit of it, because we all have to take a deep look into ourselves. Just because something was done to you does not mean it has to be done to somebody else. Because you can go back and you can remember all the great times. I remember all the great times. And I still got great times. I love when I get together with my brothers. But I know this. I remember the bad times too. Why would you want somebody to go through that? It's not right. Just because you went through it, it's not right. And the only thing you're doing when you keep perpetuating it is trying to justify the wrong that was done to you. That's all I got, bro.
Appreciate the call, Nick.
Appreciate you, Nick.
Can I say this? Can I say that listen, man, and maybe I'm a cornball. Call me a cornball because I think differently, right? I'm and fam UKJ, I'm gonna get to you. Just stay with me real quick. Why can't you do like character exams? And what I mean, and this is what I mean, right? Let's say there's a situation to where you put a situation to, a kid walks a certain way to class, right? And you set up a situation to where there might be a homeless person there, or it might be a girl trying to pick her books up. And if the guy walks past her and doesn't help, you're like, I don't know if that's the kind of guy we want in our fraternity, right? Like, just like I said, there could be things to where you use professors part of your character exam of just like, hey, how is this guy as a student? You know what I'm saying? Is he respectful? Does he respect his peers? Like, because to me, if you're looking, people who have integrity, and I preach this to my kids, integrity is doing the right thing when nobody's looking. And if you have true character, if you're telling me you're an upstanding individual, it shows in everything you do. Nobody's perfect by any means, but it shows up. It shows up. If a girl is having a hard, it's no different than you see the skits on Instagram and Facebook, right? Where people are doing something, or like the blind man, right? Like you see them skits where it's a blind man, he holds his arm and people pull away and walk away from him and things like that. Like there's multiple ways to show character than just whooping up on somebody and beat. I just think people need to be more creative in showing how you are an upstanding individual. Let me take this call and I'm gonna get back to you guys at this point. Fam UKJ, coming to you.
Hey guys, thanks for taking my call, man. I appreciate getting to speak. I'm an old school D9 member. One of the things that we were extremely concerned about when I think back in '89, when a kid that was in Alpha was killed at Morehouse, and they started changing the entire process. But one of the things that became alarming was it's going to start going underground. Okay, and underground means that, again, say for example, the pledge period may be for quote unquote 6 weeks, but really it's going to be 12 weeks, 6 weeks underground, 6 weeks on top.
6 weeks underground?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes.
And so when you start having that, and so what they started doing was you start having this intake process, right? So what started happening was that members my age or whatever, you start having this distinguish of what's made, what's paper. Paper intake process, the person goes through, sometimes it's done by the grad, older gentlemen, sometimes by nationals. They go through learning, they learn the history, do all those different things, and they become a member. Well, what started happening was that person now is looked upon within the fraternity as paper. And he didn't do the things that was needed. Now again, I'm not agreeing with, so I just want to make sure that disclosure, I'm just giving you the outlook about what happens.
Speaking facts.
So what starts to happen, say that again?
No, he said
you speaking facts.
Go ahead.
Yeah. And so what starts to happen is this right here. You start having chapters that start to say, listen, ain't no paper go be in here. If you go be part of XX chapter, you go be hard. All right. And the way we do that, when you meet somebody in California and you say Sigma chapter, they go, no, all right, he definitely made. And so you start to ask yourself, well, why would a kid that say that I know I'm going to get hazed, why would you still be signing up for that? Well, some of it is this right here. When you have been looking and watching how it goes, and you see the difference in how somebody who may be paper is greeted and treated compared to somebody made, it's a difference. And again, I want to make sure again, a disclosure, I don't agree with it, but I'm just telling you the facts. And so when this is going on, and you start to see, like I say, this kid who decide that you're going to get hazed, and you sign those disclosures, say, I will not participate in hazing events. I will not, be hazed. And the undergrad brothers, so I won't haze. That's as good as the paper that, that's might as well throw that in the fire. Because the older brothers are saying, yo, if you want to be made, and when we come back for homecoming and we know that you part of the chapter, that's the type of greeting and respect you go get. And that has now been playing out for about the last 15, 20 years, or probably a little longer, of paper and made. So that's why you're seeing, the warehouse events, the different things. And like, so when a brother come back, he may say, oh, did you take part of this, of this particular set on this particular night? And you know how we get down all night getting beat in the chest or whatever. The brother, yo, you made it. Hey, that's what I'm talking. And so that is crazy. It's crazy. But that's the thing for, young testosterone filled men, that's what happens. And so, a young man lost his life, and it's definitely wrong. But I'm just trying to give you some insights into why would someone wants to participate in it, and then what's the environment that's around that causes that. And so, like I say, it's paper versus made. I don't know if you've heard that before, Scotty, but that's the thing that's going, and that's how people are operating now.
I was going to speak to that because honestly, I'm 46 years old, and that's the only two lines I've ever heard in my life, was either being made or being paper. And I was going to word it differently, because if you paper, whether it's a sorority or fraternity, you ain't respected. You're not respected at all. You're looked down upon in your own. It's almost like a gang in your own set. You ain't respected. And so in order to be respected, you got you got to be made. And it's got to the point now, I'm gonna say that, look, now I ain't Greek, but we can talk about it. But it's to the point now, even in grad chapters, they pledging in grad chapters now too. Because it used to be you would wait to go grad chapter because it was paper and I'm respected. But they did away with it. So now to the point now, you ain't escaping, because now it's like if you go grad chapter, you're pledging in grad chapter, you're getting hazed too in grad chapter. Straight up. And the same thing allows either made or your paper. And everybody want their respect. It's foolishness.
And most frats got a hymn that goes like, I got a feeling somebody trying to sneak in the frat, and ain't gonna be no shit like that. That's kind of like a statement that goes throughout. And I'm just saying, again, I don't know. I'm not saying I agree. I'm just telling you the groundwork of how things roll. And many people take that to heart. So I say that, man. Thanks for letting me speak my mind, and just letting you know kind of how that thing roll and what's going on. Man, I appreciate you, Scott.
Appreciate you calling. So Scotty, I'm glad he mentioned it because now ask your question. Should they be? You see how that plays out? Because again, remember I told you earlier, you have a form that the pledgee sign and the pledger sign on both ends about hazing. But then again, the mentality, right? You either gonna be made or you paper. So again, it's almost like we're signing it as just it's just checks and balances. It's just paper. It's just bullshit. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a formality is what it is because it got to be in there. But you're gonna get made when you actually once you do all this shit. So basically, it's being tone deaf and not giving a damn about what's signing to about hazing. So we don't give no fucks about that paper, about signing about anything about hazing or whatever the case may be. You're gonna get made if you're gonna cross this line. And we're gonna do whatever we want to do to you. So that's when you ask your question, that's what I come back to.
That listen.
It's ludicrous.
No, that's a sick mind, bro. I'm like I never, if I played, I would probably play alpha. Like that's just always been my thing. I've always been a fan of alphas. But
man, you better join my fraternity. Me Phi Me.
But
I'm like T-Pain. You hit me, I hit back.
No, it just hearing the stuff that people are saying is just crazy to me.
Nah, bro.
It's crazy.
Do you have a lot of callers?
Nah, I'm about to play the video for you.
No, I'm just asking because I'm so curious to hear people's opinion. I know a lot of people, it's so touchy. And that's the thing about it. It's so touchy when you start to get into this Greek world to the point, it's like, I don't want to say nothing. I don't want to piss on. It's like it gets so tough. But this is simply about what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah.
Man, look, let me tell you something. At this point, I don't mean to cut you off here. At this point, man, damn anybody's feelings, a damn touch, they touching their feelings. Man, look, you can, man, y'all can hit me up. I can take all this. Man, I don't give a damn about y'all feelings. We're talking about law.
I say that not to us, but to a lot of times when you want to hear from the masses of people, because we all know we'll speak the way that we think. A lot of people don't have that about themselves, but sometimes situations like this, it'll be somebody say, I normally don't speak on stuff. I normally don't even call in, but something about this touched me, Captain. It forced me to want to speak out because I saw the injustice or something wrong. And that's why I was just curious to see, was there a lot of people? Because I know it's a slippery slope. Some people rather just sit back and listen to others. Some people may just do better comment in the chat. Then you're going to have those that's just going to be passionate about what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. Yeah. And I'm just curious to hear from people to see if they willing to express that.
My thing is my bad, Scotty. My thing is at the end of the day, bro, all three we're talking about loss of life for a foolish reason that had that dude should be living today.
Yeah, absolutely.
That dude should be living today, man. Look, he part of Southern Band. That dude's supposed to be living life, man, getting ready for midterms and everything else. That dude should be here. Lost his life over some nonsense, bro. Nonsense.
5882 coming to you, then 8735. You're next. Hey, you live. 5882, you live.
Whoa, Scotty, what's up, though?
What's up?
What's up, man?
I'm here. Shit, I'm out of Baton Rouge, man. And the story, it's just the facts that's coming out, and then you're hearing about the councilman. They use his building to do the shit, and it's just too much, man. It's just a lot. It's just a lot, bro, and it's just sad. And I just want to hear y'all thoughts on the councilman and him saying that he didn't know that they was using the warehouse or whatever, that the shit happened there. And I want to hear y'all thoughts on that.
Hey,
that's all I had to say.
Hey, no problem, man. Appreciate the call. I know, Perry, your guy touched on that. I think one of the pledgers, his dad, it was his dad's warehouse. Am I correct on that, P? Or how did it work?
So there's a warehouse here in Baton Rouge. Once they found out the story was fictitious, that they wasn't at a park, they tried to figure out, well, what was the location? Well, they zeroed it back into a warehouse that's here in Baton Rouge. I want to say they said it was off of Greenwell Springs. Now, this warehouse is leased out to multiple different groups. One of the groups that leasing this warehouse is a Baton Rouge Metro City Councilman, Cleve Dunn. But Cleve is one of the people, because his name is big. They went to him first saying, hey, we heard your name associated with where this boy got killed. And he hurried up and put a statement out from his business, which is a courier service, that said, I found out from the moment the media talked to me about it, and I have no association to Omega Psi Phi, nor did I know anything about this taking place in the building. I'm just one of others who also lease out this building. Then they asked Cleve, well, who else lease out the building? Then they found out, well, this other guy who leases out the building, oh, guess what? He has association to Omega Psi Phi because his son is. So that's how we was able to put it together, because Cleve, like, look, I'm a man of the community. I'm on the Metro Council. I just rent out a portion of the building. I'm not everybody else, but as an upstanding citizen, it ain't snitching. I'm giving you the information you're looking for.
Exactly.
That's what we got to realize as people. I'm giving you, because, you know, you'll get over, why did he say something? Why did he tell?
Yeah.
We got that mentality so bad as a people. He gave the information. I'm not the only one. Here's the name of the other people who also lease the building. Well, and then when you contact those people, you find out, oh, okay, now the dots start to connect. Your son is a member of Omega Psi Phi. This happened in the warehouse, so it makes sense now. Somewhere the correlation had to be there, right?
So is the son so the councilman son did it?
No, the councilman has
no.
nothing to do with it.
No.
Okay, so
he's just
There's
one
another
of the
person that
leasers of
leases
the
from
warehouse,
them.
but you have multiple people with other businesses who also lease out this warehouse.
Gotcha. Okay, so
the other guy who leases this warehouse,
his son. Then
and
that dad needs he's liable. I don't.
They just found out. I don't know if his son was a part or what, because we have not. They just said that's how we found out the association of the accused getting
access.
Liable. Period. Liable. 8735 coming to you, and we'll get back on the topic.
Man, I just want to jump in real quick on this topic, man. Prayers to the brother family. This is, believe it or not, pretty common. I got a lot of family that's Greek. It's pretty common. And a lot of times it happens, somebody get online that they really don't want online. And since you're not really invited like that, maybe you knew somebody, an old head, or you were legacy or something. They, oh, come on, get online. They gotta deal with you. They gonna make you earn it in their mind. That's something that happens a lot, and usually dudes tap out quick. Like, I don't really want you here, but we gotta let you get through. And you know, they go too far with it. All I say is to the people that you know, when I was younger, I almost did Greek, but you know, back in the day, I was dressed like Kanye, but I was affiliated on that campus. You know what I'm saying? So I had the goons with me on campus. They went to university, but they never attended their class. So when I tried to play it, I said, well, hey, as long as I can square up afterwards, are we good? They said, no, we can't do that. We brothers after that. I said, nah, bro. Where I'm from, I'm big dog. So when it's over, we got to square up so everybody know their order. Oh, no, we can't have him. We can't have him. We can't have him. So the sad thing about it is I see a lot of people go through all this stuff for these organizations, but they do not pay dividends professionally at all. None of the Divine Nine, in my opinion, none of the Sonic and all. I don't see them paying dividends. I didn't touch the numbers. I know what they do with the money they get. I don't think it pays any dividend. You might as well went and did a pledge with the white boys. I guarantee they would have made sure you got a job. So, but like I said, you know, blessings and prayers to that brother's family. I hope they make it through this time, and that's a difficult time in their life. Thanks, fellas.
Hey, appreciate the call, man. Jason, coming to you. What's up, Jay?
What's good, Scotty? What's up, Zoe? What's up here?
What's up, Jay?
Hey, man. Man, I just want to chime in on this really quick, man. I've been watching for a minute, but man, I'll be honest in that, man. I'm one of those people that actually supports Black Greek letter organizations. Not the heinous acts of hazing at all. And I said this on my story a few days ago, in the wake of this young man's life. And what I said was, man, I've been while I'll be honest in that I don't care about saying it publicly now either, man. I went through hazing. But even at the time when I was an undergrad, like I wasn't for it then. Neither have I ever put my hands on anybody or physically or verbally hazed anybody because I never felt that it was the best way. But like I said, I'm one of the ones that doesn't just throw the Black Greek letter organization to the wolves because I believe in it. I believe in the origin. I believe from an original intent standpoint, like they were built and cultivated to be like enclaves and these silos where Black people could huddle together. And we see in the early 1900s where you see all of these intellectually stimulated Black organizations that come into fruition, like one of the earlier callers says, because they were experiencing so much hell in society that these were organizations that they could come to where they can be nobody but themselves. So I believe in it from that vantage point and what it was in the first, I would say, like 2 decades before hazing started to become a big thing. However, like I said in the comments earlier, man, I really think that this is a compounded issue. I hate that the young man lost his life. I really do. And I'm not for it. And I do feel like there has to be criminal charges there. But I think because I think at the core of it, and this is just me, also being a professor in higher education, what these kids want most is acceptance. And whatever they have to do to get that, they have no rationale by what's too much, what's too little, what's right, what's wrong. All they want, all they know is I want to be accepted. So with that in mind, like I hate it, but man, I just think like these organizations, man, we gotta rev up, man. And it was just so crazy. It was even more sickening to me that it happened in Baton Rouge, where they just instituted the Matt Groover Act from the LSU student a few years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, they just put this act in place in 2017. But what was even the more, and I had to explain this to my students, they instituted that act, and Pierre can probably correct me on this. It was 2016 and 2017. However, they didn't put that legislation in place until it happened at a PWI. There were 10 or 11, 3 that were resulting in deaths, 10 hazing, not just allegations, but instances in the state of Louisiana prior to the student at LSU, but they were all at HBCUs in Louisiana. However, this didn't happen until they didn't put legislation attached to this consequence until it happened at a PWI. So I think that even further proves how legislation, or even from a political standpoint, they don't have our best interest at heart. And it's almost like they want us to just kill each other. Like, so that's my other issue. But man, like you said earlier, man, like I speak often, and a lot of what I do, or some of what I do, is I do these anti-hazing seminars all across the United States. And man, what saddens me the most is I say this at the end of every anti-hazing seminar that I do. I always say, now for 98% of you in this room, this presentation meant nothing. I can show you that since their inception, Black Greek Letter Organization, there have been 107 deaths from students. I can show you how this has affected people's mental, physical, emotional over years, but it will not impact you because you want acceptance more. And you will believe, dude, they agree. Like the students, their feedback is, man, we already know it's gonna keep happening. Like it's gonna be what it is. Like, so man, that's what I guess discourages me the most, that we are accepting this as the status quo, that this is just something that we're going to have to go through. And man, yeah, that's really all I got, man. That's my 2 cents on it.
Man, Jay, appreciate the call, bro. Thank you so much.
Scotty, you know who really I think I don't know if it was the first time, but who really brought this for all of us to see from an entertainment standpoint? The movie School Days. G. Hey, did he show you hazing in that movie?
Yeah.
Did he show you the half pint, the extent? I mean,
what?
That was like, I don't know if it was the first time it was brought to like a movie for us to see it.
It was.
But he definitely made it clear. Now, he didn't go to the deep extent, the same way like Drumline brought band to a lot of people, and it gave you another side to band. It was like, okay, you got to see hazing within the band as well. But it wasn't to the extent of the stories that when you in real life that you hear. But it's like a fine line right there, just like, hey, it's just enough to get you to see and to understand there is an underworld to it. School Days brought it to you. I mean, that was first. It even showed them getting power.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It was a lot too, but it just opened the mind. I just think people just don't realize what the true extent. That's the commercialized version, right? Drumline, School Days, whatever else. That movie Burning Sands really like kind of flip it and give you a for me, out of everything that I saw from a movie standpoint, that was about as closest in a movie, not a documentary, but a movie that can get you a reality of what happens in those closed doors that a lot of people speculate, that you hear the stories that you don't truly know. But that was like as close as I think from what I've seen from around with movies of an understanding of what happens behind closed doors.
And I want to say this too. I think, and to Jason's point, you know, none of us are saying that we're shunning, you know, any of the three Greek letter organizations, right? They do have their place, and like I said earlier, I stated I wanted to be a part of one, but I couldn't because they were on the yard because they were praising, right? But the thing is one comment that was said was, you know, about valuing the Greek letter organizations, but in this instance, the outrage is so strong because this particular Greek letter organization didn't value one of its own, and that's the problem. If we want to value them, we need to value us. And I always say it: Black people devalue Black things. We don't value us, and this is a microcosm of that. And so we say, you know, value the organization, but man, we need to value all the entities that's intertwined with it. And again, to his point, we mentioned earlier about some being paper. The other guy called in and stated, say, hey, you know, sometimes, you know, we didn't like you, so we want to give you, you're gonna earn it to even get across, right? But at the end of the day, man, we gotta value us. And at that point, if we don't ever value us, man, and we do it subconsciously, we do it without even thinking, until we value us, we're gonna be right back here.
My issue that when I hear it, the mentality. Like I can't wrap my mind around that you're teaching people the essence of a fraternity and how it started. And they gotta be like, you know, Omega Psi Phi, 1911, founded by and they gotta blurt all this stuff out. And none of that shit matters because we still gonna haze you. Like yeah, I couldn't imagine like Martin Luther King Jr. getting hazed at Alpha Phi Alpha. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just crazy to me. You know, Rosa Parks being hazed at, I think she's an AKA, right? Like I just couldn't imagine that. But why has it gotten to that point? Because why should it's not, it's like, okay, people say the military is 1% of America's population. That if anybody doesn't know that, the United States military is one, that's like the big thing. They're like, you're part of the 1%, right? So, but imagine how big that 1% is. You're talking about 1 million people, 2 million people, whatever, however many people you want to talk about, it's a lot. Well, to me, that's how Greek should be for Blacks, right? Like, if 1% of Black America signs up to be Greek, that should be a pride. Just the numbers alone should be a pride. It's not how you got in, it's that you're in. It's not that you got beat silly to be a part of it. It's that you are part of the 1% that qualified to even get in the Now it's just you're able to take an ass whooping. Like that's what it really comes down. You're able to take an ass whooping. You were able to get beat silly and walk through it and come on the other side of it.
And when you at homecoming, you hear it all the time. Whether it's somebody that was a former band member or in the organization, they get with their homeboys. They say, "Hey, back in the day, this dude didn't play," and they get the term. Have you ever heard the term a master hazer?
No, I never.
I've heard that term. They say, "Hey, this dude made me. Hey, listen, this dude right here, you didn't play." Like it becomes a part of the culture to where you hear it so much. Go to a homecoming, and when you see organizations get together or a band or whatever the case may be, where you will hear the stories of back in the day, like, "Hey, back in the day, this boy didn't take no prisoners, or she didn't do this." Or, you hear it, so it becomes ingrained. It almost, in a lot of instances, become a badge of honor. And it really does when you get around these conversations and you hear people talking about what it was like and what they went through and who did these things, because then as they get older, it becomes the stories that you glorify from back in the day. And I hear it all the time. All the time, whether it's at a game, homecoming functions, when people get together, especially back in the day, and they recount the stories, they talk about who was whooping ass and who was taking names and who they was making, and we stayed out their way, or if you got in their way, that's who I am today because they whooped my ass. I can't make that up. And it becomes a badge of honor. As the Master Hayes is, you was whooping ass back in the day.
That's crazy. All right, let me play this Burning Sands trailer. We'll get a last comment. We got a caller. Caller, I'm gonna get you after this trailer. Here we go. This is the Burning Sands trailer that Perry was speaking. If you haven't seen the movie, oh shoot, what am I doing? All right, here we go. Share screen.
Welcome to Whataburger. Can I take your order?
30 sausage biscuits, 30 hash browns.
Oh, with egg and cheese on those, please.
Hold on now. What, you ain't got no napkins?
It's all about the brotherhood. After pledging, a lambda man is ready for anything.
It's a rite of passage. We gonna earn the shit.
You are in the good hands of generations of tradition and honorable brothers.
Yo, if we make it through Hell Night, that'll be us out there. You know that.
The brother's gonna be in your family now. They're gonna have you backs for life.
This right here. We come from kings and queens, man, not slaves. You, kings. Hello? Yes, sir. I'll be there in 10 minutes. Yes, sir.
How bad you want it, boy?
I want to be.
Shut up! Let me tell you something about getting into this fraternity. You got him!
Find out what just any people will quietly submit to, and you will find out the exact measure of injustice and wrong.
Y'all think it's tough? Nah. Just wait for Hell Night.
If we ever get free from the oppressions and wrongs heaped upon us, we must pay for the removal.
You're injured, aren't you? And you really should get it looked at.
I'm just trying to keep my head low and make it through a week, okay? Only a chosen few make it to the other side.
I don't matter.
You don't want to keep your line brothers waiting.
I don't think you understand.
Humiliation builds humility, and one more night is not going to kill you. This I know.
And we need to change, and we need it now because the lives of our students and the honor of this fraternity is at stake.
You are merely facing what other men have met.
When you're up against trouble, meet it squarely face to face. Lift your chin, say shoulders, plant your feet, and take a breath. When it's vain to try and dodge it, do the best that you can do. You may fail and you may conquer. See it through, see it through, see it through.
Welcome to Hell Night, fellas.
Hey, Scotty, if you can, please show that Hell Night video.
All right, I got you. Yeah.
Unlock. Face forward. Oh, look at him. Look at him. Yo, let's get those hoodies off. Let's get those hoodies off. Come on. Come on. Come on. Link up. Greet your big brothers. Greet your big brothers! Huh? You don't want this shit. You don't want this shit. Yeah, big brother, son. Let's go, dude. Let's go, dude. Let's go. You want to be a lamb? Yes. I want to be a lamb. Come on, Squirt. You ain't talking tough now, are you? You ain't talking tough now, are you? You want to eat that shit. Stand up straight. You better stop fucking moving, boy. I swear to God. I swear to God. Get your bitch ass up. None of them matter, y'all. None of them matter. Put your hands up. Get his ass. Come on, Z. Get your ass up. Who told you to get? You want to be a man? Bring that shit. I want to be a lab for sure. Let's go, number 3. Let's go, number 3. Let's go, number 3.
Was that intense?
No, that's crazy, bro.
Was that intense for you?
That's crazy.
So here's the thing though. Imagine doing that, somebody dying, and then you go change his clothes, drop him off somewhere, and then do this whole cover up to save your ass.
What you think happened? I don't want to spoil the movie, but y'all watch it. But that movie almost sound like to a T what happened here in Baton Rouge. Because if you watch the movie all the way to the end, you'll be surprised. And if you read this whole story that then came out that we studied finding out the truth for Caleb Wilson, and you compare it to this movie, I promise you, it's almost to a T. That was just, you got to watch that all the way through because you gonna see what exactly happened.
So let me get this straight. And caller, stay with me. So that happens all night.
You got to have somebody call in that's a part of the organization. I can't tell you yay or nay. I can't tell you that. I don't know.
Somebody that has pledged in Hayes, tell me what a hell night is. Is that all night? Is that until the morning comes up? Is that 3 hours, 2 hours, 1 hour? What does that look like? I know it's over 500 Bammers up in this joker. One of y'all niggas is what it is.
I'm gonna say
not
this.
all
Look,
night, but it's until they done.
Scott, I'm gonna say this. That was about 10 minutes. An hour was enough. And we know it in an hour.
Bro.
You see what I'm saying?
That's crazy. Let me get this call. 0786 coming to you. Hey, caller, you live.
Hey, what's up, Scottay? Thank you for taking my call. What's up, Perry? What's up, Zoe? I first want to say thank you guys for creating a platform and you guys speaking about this situation. So I commend you guys for speaking boldly, and I want to be as precise as I can with my comment. I am a family member of a victim of some of these hazing has happened. My cousin graduated from Prairie View A&M about 10 to 11 years ago, and mentally, I know we talked about a lot about the physical, and mentally, it took a huge toll on him. Where now clinically, mentally, he is not deemed to be sane, and he was in a situation where he pretty much almost pledged for about 2 years because he pledged his band line. Then he pledged the band fraternity, the band fraternity, and then he pledged Omega Psi Phi.
and he was just constantly in that thing. Now, I do know there's a personal choice that this individual made, my cousin made, but also it's the like they said, it's the influence, it's the wanting to be a part, wanting to be accepted, the cachet, and the pros that come with it. But I think when you're young and you're 17 and you're 18 and 19, you want to be accepted. You want to be the cool guys on campus, and you want to be a part of the best line. And and I think another thing you Perry, what you spoke to that really resonated. Does it really take all this? Does it really take all this? And as a family member that our family had to go through pretty much losing our cousin to this situation. And like I said, it took time. He was able to graduate, but even by his junior into the beginning of his first semester of his senior year, we could see that his mental was starting to slip. And things were starting to occur or stuff that was starting to happen that wouldn't usually happen. And a lot of it dealt with a lot of the trauma and a lot of stuff that was caused by going through this hazing for about 2 years. And I think that's one of the things that I don't want to get lost is sometimes the physical can be there, but the mental could be gone. And he became broken. And I think that he was explaining to me when he was able to still communicate clearly, like, yeah, bro, they break you to build you up and everything like that. But once you broken, who says that they put the pieces back in place correctly? So I just wanted to speak to, as a family member, of what the families go through with trying to do what we can to put the pieces back together and be able to continue to be there for them. And you can only go so far that a person allows you to, because they are grown. They do have their own thoughts, but they're mentally gone. And I just wanted us to take the time, and I just want to take the time to say thank you and take the time to speak to not only the physical, but also to the mental trauma that is caused. And this will be my last statement. It's very interesting how this thing that you promote and you say it's supposed to build us up and make you anew, right? And you come into this family, you cross the burning sands and all that, but you go in and you create new trauma. You create new ways to be ostracized if you don't meet a certain standard. We're therefore doing the very thing that we call the people our oppressors, we call the people the colonizers, they do to us. So I would love for things to change and things to not be the same. So I thank you for taking my call. I appreciate you, brothers, and you guys, God bless.
Hey, appreciate
you.
Like, Jesus Christ. All I can think of is, does it really take all that? Does it really take all of that to be a part of a fraternity or sorority, to build a bond? Like, does it take all of that to build a bond with other people? Because I'm close to people that I've never gone to blows with, or taking blows for, or been in a line of blow. And again, you're talking about a former military guy. Like, I've gone through basic training. Like, I know what it takes. I've been through a process of getting broken down to be a part of a unit, to move and shoot and communicate together. You see what I'm saying? Like, I've been in training. I've been in high volatile situations to where you got to trust the man next to you to make sure you make it back home. But at the end of the day, this is why, to me, a lot of military people don't do well in corporate settings, because we look at it like nobody's going to die. When people are like, "Oh, we got to get this done," and it's a red line tape, and I'm like, nobody's about to die. Like, what's the big deal? Like, we can whatever, right? So, but in this situation, like, does it really take all that to build a bond? Does it really take all that to prove that you're good enough and accepted enough to walk and to have letters, to throw up a sign, to throw up a signal, to go to a national convention, right? Because to me, it's just another layer of classism.
That's got it. To do and to then lie. That's just where I draw the line, point blank, period. Then to lie. You see, and I know that was a movie, the same way School Day was. But what was Spike Lee when he was half pint? He damn near was finna lose his own cousin trying to get into that organization. That's how bad he wanted to be G5G. So when we get people to get online and want to be a part of a brotherhood, they willing to endure things. And to endure with the ones that at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, and you one of the chosen few, that's who you gonna call your brother. That's all I'm saying. After the extent, I'm not saying what happened was that movie to a T, but we do know the facts was they were punching him directly into the chest with gloves on. And you see these cats getting put. How many of them body blows you think you can take locked up just catching them to the chest? God forbid you got a irregular heartbeat. God forbid you got asthma and you can't never catch your breath. Or in this case, a seizure occurred. And these very ones, and that's just where I'm at with it. And that's point blank period. The very ones who you willing to call your brothers,
don't rush to the
once
hospital.
it was all said and done, fucking lied.
Dropped you off.
And don't hold on. Before they lie, don't even take you to the hospital. They don't even care about your safety.
Don't call
or your health.
911.
Don't call 911. Don't take you to the hospital and then lie to try to save themselves, bro.
Man, it's like people calling in now. 2189. Then Nick, I'm gonna come back to you. 2189, you live. Turn your background down for me.
All right. My background is down. I pledged Omega Psi Phi in 1982. I am sincerely heartbroken and embarrassed about this incident. I can't say it enough. I'm sure there's enough brothers out there that can't say it enough. But the bottom line is this. We can only put in rules and regulations and policies and procedures. Just like every day of the week, parents tell kids, don't smoke drugs. They go out and they OD on fentanyl. Don't drive too fast. You drive too fast. Now, you all speaking as if the whole fraternity condoned what these clowns did when there's people in the fraternity that say, oh, no, we getting to the bottom of this shit. We're going to get to the bottom of it. We smelt these rats before. We're going to get to the bottom of it, and we're not playing. And we got a zero tolerance for it. And we do. Now, as far as this movie go, I don't know if the movie came out first or these young men in Baton Rouge action came first. But just like kids sit up and watch video games and cowboy movies and bank robber movies and think that the shit is real. And then they go out and they realize that, oh my God, this ain't real. My ass is getting ready to get 25 years. These same guys that didn't think of the young man as a human, lies flash before them and think they're going to outsmart the police, outsmart a bunch of investigators and smart people like me that's going to say, no, this ain't where the damn evidence is going. Your ass has done something you had no business doing, and we're going to get to the bottom of it. Like we're going to get to the bottom of who knew they was in the warehouse, why were they off campus, who knew they was off campus, who authorized their asses to be off campus, because they shouldn't have been where they supposed to be in without any adult supervision. We're going to get to the bottom of it. And all I can say is just wait and see. This is not what the fraternity stands for. I'll sit here and listen to this all night, embarrassingly, because I had to take it, because 90% of everything that's coming out of everybody's mouth is right. But the fraternity as a whole, we did not endorse this. Do we embrace it? And that's that. And if people keep talking about, well, there's somebody out there that called each other a paper cue. Well, there's a motherfucker out there, there's somebody out there that's going to call me a paper cue. And it's somebody that plays 10 days before that brother going to call them a paper cue. So it gets to the bottom line of, everybody's got to be responsible. But the immediate responsibility falls on those young men that call themselves managing an intake program and decided they're going to do something slick outside of the rules and regulations. And after they get through, after whatever the laws of Louisiana say about involuntary manslaughter, they'll learn what outside of the rules and regulations. Thank you for your effort. Thank you for trying to bring an awareness to it. I apologize to the family.
Can I ask you a question?
I'm embarrassed but this is what it is.
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Goodbye.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
I appreciate you calling in.
Just a real quick question. When you say that it doesn't represent the organization and people don't like it, but everybody knows it's going on, how does that not represent? Because to me, it's like, it's one of those things that and you brought up being a child, right? It's one of the things as a child, like, you've been stealing candy and I see the jar going low, but I haven't caught you. And now that it's gotten to the point to where somebody dies, now it's become like, oh no, we don't approve hazing. But I won't say everybody. I don't like doing blanket statements. Majority of chapters are hazing, and we know that there are hazing. Let me ask you this: Are there Omega people who go around and check to make sure there's no hazing? Are there
absolutely? I didn't make myself clear. When there are certain parts of the activities that they do, about 80% of everything they do, they're supposed to be supervised. But they take it upon themselves and say, okay, lights out, everybody go to bed. And then that advisor, if he don't sit up there in the room and watch everybody and look to see, they sneak out and go do things on their own. No. We don't know that everybody is hazing. We got more hazing police out here. We got more people that are paying money that are out here policing to make sure there is no hazing than we do people that sitting around talking that yip-yap about the brother's not made tough no more. Absolutely. But again, it's like children. We've been children. Our parents did their best to keep us in line, but what do? Our best to get around them. So no. We don't know that. Matter of fact, let me give you an example. We had some guys at our homecoming, in the middle of the plot, and these guys were on video, and they had this chant that they were singing that was very nasty and repulsive, and something that none of us would want our daughters or mothers or grandmothers to hear. And and if you go back and look at some of the Facebook posts, you don't have to take my word. Just go back and look at my Facebook profile and some more of the brothers. We thought it was repulsive. We wanted to find out who their asses were. We wanted to figure out a way to get them disciplined. But you did have some brothers that say this. Well, when we was young, when y'all was young, we used to say nasty and do nasty stuff like that. And I said, GD, we did do it. But we didn't do it on a video recorder, and we didn't do it in the heart of the campus in front of everybody, with everybody laughing and looking for it to be there forever. Mm-hmm. Now, so there goes your difference. And there goes the percentage of somebody, as Campbell had said in the comments, and some more people say, yeah, there's some old heads out there that say, hey, well, that was the way it was done in the old days. These ain't the old damn days, okay? This ain't the old days. And what we did and didn't know was in our best interest is not now. When I got behind in the corner and we started singing Old Mother Hubbard and something nasty and lascivious, didn't nobody have a camera there that they could show up one day in my background investigation and keep me from getting the top secret clearance. So it's a difference in today is different. And again, the bottom line is, somebody should have known where those particular intake pledgees were. And until we know what time of night it was, what the instructions were from the people that were doing it, and the bottom line is, them hitting him with the from what it seems like you all are pretty accurate about somebody punching the young man that deceased at Paris with a boxing glove with not enough sense to understand you can kill somebody with a kidney punch, a punch to the heart, or any of that stuff. And then when they run and take him to add to Zoe's point, that maybe he don't understand, they didn't consider him their brother because he hadn't crossed. So he wasn't their brother. He was just somebody trying to be the brother. But they don't realize the bigger thing is he's a human, fool. This is humanity. This is a life. This is more important than brotherhood. But the same thing, and you're talking about, I'm assuming that the youngest, the most mature person on the site might have been 25 or 26. I hope not. I hope somebody that age would have graduated. But, I don't know. We don't know those facts. And as somebody else alluded, I think when the investigators get through investigating the band, they're going to find out there's probably been some hazing worse than that going on down there in the band. So, the bottom line is, if we got to follow rules and regulations and norms and have respect for humanity and everything. And again, we can't follow these kids 24/7. We put in every rule and regulation we can to say, hey, this shit about what we did in 82, this ain't what's going on in 2025. Are you there, guys, or did I overtalk myself?
Oh, you good?
No, you're fine. No. I listen. I appreciate your honesty and I appreciate your vigor. Thank you so much for the call.
Appreciate the call, man.
Let me take Nick's call real quick, and then we'll if you guys got time, we'll finish it up. Nick, what's good?
What's going on, y'all? I just had to call back in real quick. To answer your question about Hell Night, it varies by the organization and it varies by the chapter. What I can say is anybody who's ever been to Hell Night has never been happier to see the damn sun come up the next day. Is it constant all night? More than likely, no, but it's Hell Night for a reason. And the mental hazing can be just as, if not more traumatic than the physical hazing. So you're just happy to see the damn sun come up. In terms of the gentleman that was just on, I want to just go ahead and give him a couple of quick things. The writer, producer, and director of Burning Sand was Gerard McMurray, who is a member of Omega Psi Phi. The writer, producer, and director of the PBS, and I keep talking about that because it goes a lot deeper. You actually have people who took video while they were pledging and they showed the actual video. That was written and produced by Byron Hurt, who is a member of Omega Psi Phi. Now, I'm not a member of Omega Psi Phi. I'm not trying to categorize them as a whole, but if it walks like a goddamn duck,
come on,
and it talks like a goddamn
it ain't a
duck,
duck.
Ain't no mongoose.
Quack, fucking quack. And it is what it is. There's no justification at all. I have buried my goddaughter. You don't know what it feels like to put somebody in the ground that you held when they were first born. Because Caleb Wilson's parents are always going to see him as that baby when he was first born. And anybody who's a parent can understand that. No matter how old your kids get, you're going to always remember when they took that first breath. At the end of the day, that baby is going into the ground Saturday. So fuck all this other stuff. All this other, there's no justification behind it. And it stays with you. Hell, Scotty, you were in the military. There are things about your military experience that you will never forget.
Never.
That are always going to stay with you. There are things about my pledging experience that I will never forget. I have a cousin who pledged in the 80s at Dillard University. And they used to make, and that's when they had open lines. They used to make them leave their windows to their dorm rooms unlocked. And after they had their meetings, they would go in there in the middle of the night and just randomly beat the hell out of them. Till this day, my cousin, if he is asleep, everybody says, don't wake Al up. If he sleep, let him wake up on his own, because he going to wake up swinging. And that was 40 years ago, bruh. What the hell about that is making you a man? And furthermore, this farce that we keep telling the people, where we're going to break you down and build you back up as a man, bruh, I might have felt like I was a man at 20, 21, 22, but at 44, I wasn't no damn man. Looking back on it at my age now, I wasn't no damn man. What the hell does a group of 20-year-olds know about making somebody a man when they just crossed 6 months to a year before? It's excuses. And I'll say this finally, because he can talk about, oh, we got the people policing, hazing, and all that. I hear you, brother. But just like in that movie Burning Sands, and I've seen this too many times, you got way too many chapter advisors that are the ones that are supposed to be guiding these guys through and keeping them on the straight and narrow, that are just as complicit with it because they know what's going on. And because they went through it, they think, oh, you're going to go through the right way. Put all their asses in jail. The chapter advisor needs to be brought up on accountability, just like those guys that were in the warehouse with him that night. It's just there's nothing about this that says that this is okay. I don't care what you went through. I don't care what you think works. At the end of the day, when they did the vigil at Southern, and they took a picture of his parents, Bri broke down and cried. Seeing his mother like that, seeing his father like that, knowing that his father went to his place and saw where the day he died, he had set his uniform out because he was going to march in Mardi Gras the next day. Who think about, and anybody who's in the chat that's players, y'all know this feeling. When you online, one of the main things that's keeping you going is, man, when I cross, I'm gonna get to do this, I'm gonna get to do that, I'm gonna get to do this, I'm gonna get to buy that. You got a whole folder of all the apparel you finna buy. You probably have already bought some. You done practice all of the strolls and everything. You're excited, and the last thing that young man saw before he died was a glove coming at his chest. And then they changed his clothes. Do you know what it takes to pick somebody up that is completely limp and you change his clothes? What could it have done if they had taken him immediately to the hospital, if they had immediately called 911? It's just like Zoe said earlier. Take your licks like a man, but be a man about it.
Mm-hmm.
That time that they took to concoct that story, to change his clothes, to drive him out. And yes, we do know the time because he got to the hospital at 2:40 a.m. His life could have been saved. At the end of the day, it's not worth it. And you can give every justification. You can put everything down on paper. It's just, and Zoe is 100% right. Yeah, everybody signed that damn hazing protocol. And more often than not, I'll be real with you. More often than not, when the pledges sign that hazing protocol, you know what's put in their head? Yeah, you know, because if you snitch, you're just as liable as us, which makes them even more likely not to say anything. It's got to stop. It's got to change. And we can't keep putting up excuses for it. There's no excuse for it. Take it on the chin. Start putting, because see, the other part of this is the brothers that get expelled. That's the protocol. They get expelled. Okay, but when your chapter is like, oh man, you still frat, man, you still come around, you still do this, you still do that. Now start putting their asses in jail. Start putting them under the jail. Right now, Caleb McRae, the one who delivered the death blow, allegedly, based on the investigation, he is facing up to 40 years on the
Jesus.
on the manslaughter charge. Let that be a reality to these folks. Let it be a reality that everything that you worked for those 4, 5, 6 years you were in college will be done because of one night. One night. And stop letting these people who do this come back around because they're the ones who keep perpetuating this bullshit. That's it.
Man,
I'm out of y'all because I know it's late as hell.
Appreciate it. All right, last points, guys. We'll go around the horn and I'll end it. I'll close it out for myself. But Zoe, what you got?
Nah, man, just look on all points, man. Look, starting off with Kevin Hart, man. Look, black people, we gotta work together. We gotta do better. You know what I'm saying? It's each one teach one. We gotta move as one. And some shit form of fashion, but closing it out with Caleb, man. Look, my heart goes out to his family. The thing that touched me when I first heard about it was the last point that Nick made. It touched me. I have a daughter. My daughter's actually going to Southern. I have a cousin that's at Southern right now. And the only thing I think about is when I learned about his dad, you know, putting his band uniform on his bed, you know, saying preparing for Mardi Gras. And it's Mardi Gras season. And, you know, that's the part that touched me. You know what I'm saying? We think about, and I remember my dad would always tell me, and I remember vividly when I first started driving, got into college, my dad would always tell me, You don't know what it's like, but one day when you become a parent, you'll see how I worry so much when you leave the house. You know what I'm saying? I give all this stuff into you, and guess what? When you leave, I worry. You don't understand right now, but later on you will. And guess what? I have my own, you know what I'm saying? And I have two others that, you know what I'm saying, I took in that are mine. And I'm telling you, man, to just imagine getting that phone call. You out here letting your son making preparation for your son to come home for the weekend for something that he loves to do. And you get a phone call. And for what? You know what I'm saying? And you always worry, and it's gonna always be there. And so that's my heart went out to his family, to his friends, his loved ones, man. I would definitely, man, just say a prayer for you guys, man, because it's heartbreaking, for real. And this happened one too many times. Like Jason called in and said that it was up to like 17 murders in the same vein until he hit the guy at LSU. I didn't even know that. Like, think about that. 17 other murders from pledging. Like, when is it gonna stop, bro? And this is just in Louisiana. It's got 49 other states. And for what, man? Just to what, some letters? And people want to get defensive because they're part of the goddamn organization? Man, the hell with that shit. Like, that's crazy. How in the hell can anybody get defensive about that? And you out here killing people repeatedly. So, again, I just want to say, man, look, we all got to do better. Take a look in the mirror, man. Get better. But, man, I'm hurting. Definitely want to say prayers out to his family, his loved ones. Rest in peace, Caleb, because it's senseless and it gone too soon. It had no reason. That dude should be alive right now. And he died, and he lost his life to his supposed brothers. And that's the part that just drives me crazy.
As I get ready to get out of here, man, I appreciate you fellas for, having this conversation, because in all honesty, this is a tough conversation to have. A lot of people shy away from this because they don't want the backlash. They don't want to ruffle feathers, and they just simply don't want to speak on when it comes to Greek organizations. Can be a tough thing to discuss because it's like, who are you to talk about our business when you're not one of us? Well, unfortunately, what you do behind closed doors the door has been open for all of us to see it. And unfortunately, a lie was told that really gave us a whole new perspective. And I get it. A particular chapter, does that mean that's the whole organization? But everybody got to suffer behind this one. It is what it is. That's just the nature of the beast right now. And for me, and if anybody want to watch it, I had an opportunity last Saturday to talk to Chris Nakamoto. He is a lead investigator for WAFB here in Baton Rouge. He is the one that actually broke the story about this being a lie when the hospital first contacted the police. And so I had an opportunity because Chris actually was going out. He actually provided the police with information by going out doing his thing with the investigation. So if y'all think I'm speculating, no, I'm telling you the facts of what's on the table right now. And the story is study coming out because just as we've been right here on this live, they just arrested a second suspect to this.
Wow.
And they're waiting on a third. And more people are going to go because the conversation Chris and I was having was not only the people in the room, Scotty, but at any point, did they communicate with anybody outside of the room to get any guidance on how to handle the situation in which they handled it? That's the next thing. And so, yeah, this is the interview right here. That's Chris Nakamoto. Now, a lot of folks in Baton Rouge don't like, because you don't want this nigga in your business. He ain't no nigga, but you don't want him in your business. I promise you, you don't want him in your business. You do not. But guess what? He gonna get to the bottom of it. He broke the story. He told the story, and he has been the lead investigator behind what's happening. And if you want to hear the facts of what we have now to this point, I recommend you listen to that. It's under the Jaguar Journal, and you can find that video right there. Just type in on YouTube, the Jaguar Journal, and you can find this between Chris and I having this conversation in terms of the police, the warrants, the statements, the hospital, and everything else. And it's still ongoing, so I'm probably going to do more with him as this continues to unfold. But if you want to hear the facts, but at the end of the day, it's heartbreaking. It's close to home for me because I'm Southern through and through. I know that chapter. I know that chapter very well. I know a lot of people associated with that chapter. I'm associated with the band. I'm associated with everything around the campus. And just from right here in Baton Rouge, it happened in our own backyard for tragedy. And that tragedy just hit the heart a little bit different. Because you realize, unfortunately, young men that was a part of this is college. A couple of those guys already had graduated. You talking about went to college to get a life to better themselves, and now their life probably, I don't know where it's going to go from here. But you hate to be in this situation. And I hope this is, for me, a wake-up call on so many different levels, just not Greek, but just so many different levels to realize we got to do better for one another. We got to do better as a community. We got to do better as a people. And a lie ain't going to get your ass nowhere. A lie ain't going to get you nowhere. Tell the truth. Be honest. Uplift. And at the end of the day, we just got to do better as people. We've done this show 3 going on 4 hours. It ain't, you understand our passion, especially mine. But this just hit, man, Scottay, it really do. It hurt my heart, man, to hit home. And to be here, to see the sadness on the students' face, to know students directly associated with them. Southern Band didn't even march in the parade they were supposed to on Saturday. It was too many students hurt. Just band, and then you're talking about professors. Then you're talking about, so it's just keep Southern in your prayers. Keep this young man, Caleb Wilson. I think they just announced his funeral arrangements today. His funeral is going to be Saturday. He's from New Orleans. They've honored him with a candlelight vigil at Southern. They did some second lining down in New Orleans with his family. But this all together is just a tragic story. It's something that never should have happened. It was an urgent moment with an emergency that didn't get handled, and a lie was told. Let this be a wake-up call to everybody out there. But most importantly, I'm sad to hear that this young man lost his life the way that he did. And the way the story came out after just really was just really blew it up. But that's all I got, man. I appreciate everybody that's listening, that took the time. I know this is a touchy subject. This is by no way an all-out attack on Omega Psi Phi or any Divine Nine, but this is a wake-up call because we never know what kids we have that decide, just like Caleb Wilson's parents with their son that wanted to decide to get down with the get down, and this occurred. Just let this be a wake-up call to any and everybody, because you may not feel it watching it on the other side of this camera because it didn't happen in your backyard the same way it happened in mine. I feel it through and through, and it's heartbreaking. It really is. But until it happened in your own backyard, sometimes you may not see it or sense it or feel it the way I'm feeling it with the passion that I have with it right now.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody just be cognitive, be aware, be understanding that change can occur, and somebody has to pay. Justice is going to have to find the light. And at the end of the day, reform needs to happen. And we need to change the way on how we do things moving forward. If we consider these organizations to be upstanding people of the community, people who you trust to do right before anybody else do right. And that's just how I feel at the end of the day. So, man, appreciate you, brothers, for Zoe, Scotty, for having this tough conversation and allowing me to join you guys with this. Thank you to everybody who called in and everybody coming and just watching, because there's a lot of people who just simply sit back with their ears listening and watching. So, I just hope this can bring some change, and I hope people can truly have some compassion that regardless of the fact of an organization, some letters, a life was lost who was sent to go to college to better himself and had a promising life as a mechanical engineering major at 20 years old, is no longer with us. His parents are going to have to grieve, and the community and many of us who knew him and was around him are continuously going to have to deal with this as well. So, and to those brothers who in trouble, who get charged, my heart out to them too. I hate to see them have to go down this path, because if they can go back and relive that night, I know it go through their head every day since then. I would change something. I would do something different. So those are life lost right there.
Mm-hmm. listen, you know, Zoe, Perry, y'all made great points. And I don't think this is an indictment. I agree with Perry. I wouldn't make this indictment on D9 or Omega Psi Phi, but I do make it an indictment on the culture of Greek fraternity. This is an indictment on what is admissible. This is an indictment on what you allow. This is an indictment of what is like. It's no different than black people saying there's a systematic racism. It's entrenched. There's no pulling the weeds out of it. We can't. The one thing about me is I'm never going to look at a situation, well, you know, that's this and it isn't. No, it's the same way we complain and bitch and moan about systematic racism being it's instilled in America, ingrained in culture. It is the same thing in Greek fraternities. This is a systematic issue.
Yep.
That it needs to be plucked and it needs to be taken in consideration. You have these presidents and these conferences and these conventions and all this stupid shit that y'all do. But at the end of the day, you're leaving broken people behind in the midst of what you're trying to accomplish. And that is a problem. Just flat out, it's a problem. Because to me, I look at it like this. If one person who joins a Greek fraternity ends up broken, that's too many people. Because that's never how this was supposed to work. There's not a founder. There's not a Greek organization that was founded in hazing, founded in breaking a black man or woman down to prove themselves viable to an organization by physical abuse or mental abuse. You can't tell me that was it. You can't tell me that. So again, it is a systematic issue that these organizations have that they have to consciously. See, this is the thing. What is going on right now is you do just enough to check the boxes to say we did our part. But again, if whites did it towards blacks, that's not enough, right? Oh, we'll give you DEI. Well, only 4% of black people get hired on DEI. Well, we checked the box. We did what we were supposed to do. Mm-hmm. Or we'll give you, separate but equal. But we don't have the same school. But we checked the box. We did our part. Or we'll give you a building and facility, but we'll take all the resources away from it. But we checked the box. We gave you the building that you needed. The Rooney Rule. It's everything like that. But then this is the thing. We as black people, we'll complain about the boxes being checked for us. But when we're checking the boxes towards our own people and people are challenging that, we're the problem. We're the people who are saying this is not good enough. This is stupid. This is dumb. We're the problem. We're the problem. The people outside the organization saying that's doing too much. We're the problem. Black people critiquing black people on something being too much for our culture is crazy. That's wild to me. So again, it's not a knock on all Greek organizations and how you run your chapter and but it is if you cannot understand that it is an issue. I saw a young lady on Twitter said her uncle went blind pledging. Went blind. That has affected his whole life. To be a part of some shit with some fucking letters. And there's nothing that Greek organization can do for him to get him his eyes back. There's nothing that Omega Psi Phi can stomp, clap, bark, yell, roll their neck to bring Caleb Wilson's life back. There's nothing you do inside your organization. There's nothing deltas, AKAs, omegas. There's nothing noops, kappas, iotas. There's no sigmas. There's nothing you Bamas do that can bring back life. That can build somebody's body back to where you broken them. Nothing. There's not a jacket, not a shirt, not a hat that can restore any of that. All for the sake of community and letters. we having problem. And again, it is a systematic problem that needs to be fixed, period. And honestly, it wouldn't bother me if Omega Psi Phi wins Bankrupt, because I think there's, if Omega, which is probably one of the biggest ones, I would assume, one of the biggest brands, one of the biggest fraternities, I'm assuming, if they go bankrupt, the other ones got to get in line. And if that's what it takes to change, I'm okay with that, because I rather keep Caleb Wilson than lose another one. I'd rather have young ladies and young men live to become fathers and husbands, parents, dads, live long, fruitful lives. You don't know what Caleb could have impacted in his life, but it was cut short for some letters and community. That is crazy to me. And I think if anybody is here saying that nothing needs to change and it's fine the way it is, they just took it too far, then you're not understanding. You're not seeing past your own nose. Just very simple. But guys, man, I appreciate you guys for tuning in to the 3KneeGrows. As we do so well, we give you our opinions unraw. Is unraw even a word?
No, we raw.
Okay, so raw. My bad, not unraw, but raw.
Unraw, you put on the condom.
Unfiltered.
Raw, you don't wear no condom. The same way they try to teach you tornado watch and tornado warning.
Wow.
Yeah.
Raw and unfiltered. Thank you, Sweet New. Raw and unfiltered. That's
that was too much for you. That's too raw for you, Zoe.
Hey, listen, I agree. I agree. There's things that need to be changed and everything. And I think the ending of this show is simply, it kind of goes back to the Kevin Hart thing as well. The systematic problems that extend through Black communities and HBCUs of just, one, not working together. And then on the frat side is that, hey, we do what we do and don't worry about us. You know what I'm saying? So it just is what it is. Let me see. It says you cannot control how fools act when you do. Yeah, you can't. You cannot. Right? So, but guys, again, I appreciate Perry, Zoe, man. Hopefully everybody enjoyed the conversation. It is midnight here in the Eastern Standard Time. It's 11 o'clock, man. Listen, we had a long show, impactful. Hope people come back and tune in on the next one. Hey, listen, until next time, you know what we gonna do. We gonna holler. God bless.
Later.